Good morning, and welcome to Politics on the Rocks. I'm your host, Nick. To my right, we have Chris.
Good evening.
Across the table, Bookie.
Yep.
And directly in front of me, Cameron.
Hello.
Yo.
Special guest this evening is Rowan's Creek Kentucky Bourbon Whiskey, and it's a Willet. It's a Willet bourbon, I guess.
Willet Distillery, yeah.
Yeah, Willet. I feel like I always say the same thing. I'm always like, it's good because I think we just like bourbon, right?
Yeah.
And like whiskey. So,
Definitely.
well, I don't know, but right off the palate, I think it's really unique. You know, kind of has like a very to me, it's like a very like kind of unique, like almost woody taste to it. I don't know. It's really
it's got like a little spice.
I don't know. It's really tasty.
It tastes like a lot of like cedery.
Yeah.
Cedery and like this is gonna sound weird, but I almost taste like a subtle of like some sort of berry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it has like a natural like I don't know like a organic fruity.
Yeah.
fruitiness.
I think that like the berry almost. I want to say like dingle.
Stupid
As saying on the back that I guess at the Willet Distillery they have a creek that runs through the distillery.
Oh,
And that's
cool.
what they use for their water supply. It's like a limestone creek.
Is it Rowan's Creek?
Yeah, it's Rowan's Creek.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. No, it's really good. I would definitely suggest trying this guy out if you can find it.
Yeah, it's apparently super popular. I've never seen it until I went up to like Melbourne. Some shout out Michael's Liquors up in Melbourne. Nice little place, very small but very good selection.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, if I seen that bottle anywhere else, I'd be like, that looks like a cheap bottle of whiskey. Just
Yeah, I
'cause
know,
the,
right?
the label is kind of like,
Yeah, it looks
Cheap
like
looking.
some like 5-year-old
Yeah.
druid or something.
No, but it's
really good.
It's really
I like it.
good. Yeah.
It's a good one. Yeah, I think we don't buy shitty whiskey, so I mean we've had a couple that weren't our favorite.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no, I feel like with a lot of these like bourbons, you taste them and they're kind of like they're a dime a dozen. They taste very similar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But when you have one like this and a couple of, well, quite a few of the other ones that we've tried at least, they're unique, you know? They have something special about them. And I don't know. And this is definitely one that's unique to its own, and it's good. I would definitely drink this.
Yeah, there's something special about this one.
I'm gonna drink it.
I feel like we just don't buy mixers. You know, we're not buying like the bottom shelf Jack Daniels and
Right.
Yeah, what our budget's any like 45 to like, and up, right?
yeah,
I don't think we spent more than 70, right? What was our most expensive bottle? Like,
probably that
Probably the
C one.
Jeffersons, yeah.
Yeah,
how much was that one?
Ask him. He bought it.
I
you
think
bought
it's 80. I think.
Oh
it's-
yeah, okay, yeah.
that was a good. That was a good.
Yeah.
That was a good
That
bottle.
was a good one. Yeah.
I think the chicken cock's still my reigning champ.
Chicken cocktail.
Yeah,
also
that
very
one was
good.
pretty good too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the whiskey talk.
Whiskey wisdom. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about, there's a couple things. Nothing like, I don't think we're going to spend like super, super long really on anything. We're going to kind of cover a bunch of stuff. There's, from episode, we always say we need to look up and see what episode we talked about it. So it's not just like, in a
Probably like
previous
episode 8 or 7 if you're talking about the condominium.
Yeah. Anyway, it was the episode where we talked about after the Miami hotel went down. So there's we have an update on the task force with that. FWC asking for $7 million to save the manatees. There's a new law passed in Florida called the Genetic Privacy Law. We'll talk about that. Florida fines county for vaccine mandates. And that's it. I mean, there's a couple other things I'm sure will come up, but yeah, I guess to start off, Colin Powell.
Dead.
Next thing you know, motherfucker was dead.
Yeah. I mean, it's not never good. I always kind of just try not to dance on people's graves because it's kind of bad juju, you know.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good part of you.
But it's tough whenever someone is basically responsible for like hundreds of thousands of people.
Right,
dying.
it's kind of like poetic in a way, you know.
Yeah. Probably give like a little
So-
background real fast. People don't know who. Because I didn't know until he died.
Yeah, so Colin
he
Powell was the first African American Secretary of State and also Secretary of Defense, I believe. And he was the one that gave the lengthy talk to the UN where he presented so-called evidence that they had weapons of mass destruction
In Iran, right?
Yeah, in Iraq.
Iraq.
And, yeah, well, you know, the funny thing is that all of the weapons that the United States soldiers ended up finding that were considered, you know, biological weapons like gas bombs and things like that, they were all sold to Iraq by U.S. companies during the Iran-Iraq War in the 70s. So they're all old bombs that the U.S. sold them. So it was kind of funny. But, and then, yeah, they ended up blowing up a lot of those stockpiles that they found. And, I guess the shelf life for those types of bombs is pretty short. So most of them they didn't have very much, you know, usable gas material in them anymore. But yeah, so those were the WMDs, the so-called WMDs that hundreds of thousands of people were murdered over.
That reminds me of, and I just recently read about this, the scare in 2003, I think, the Anthrax Scare.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that all the anthrax that was like being found was all, it was all some, I don't want to say experimental, but it had signatures like within its, I guess, chemical makeup that only the U.S. government, the U.S. military labs were working on. So it was like all U.S. military lab created anthrax.
Jeez.
And then they like pinned. That's a long story, but I'm still reading about it. But a lot of people don't know that, and I feel like that's super interesting. But
Yeah.
that what you were saying just reminds me of that.
Yeah, it all happened around the same time.
Yeah,
The good old days
The good old days.
before mandates and lockdowns and
Yeah, we just had anthrax.
yeah, killed only like 20 people,
Yeah.
that's a pandemic by today's standard.
right?
But yeah, so he was vaccinated. He died of COVID, right?
Yeah.
COVID complications.
84
I think he
years
had
old.
cancer.
Yes, they're saying he had bone cancer.
That's
So,
rough.
yeah, that'll get you. Especially when you're 84.
Yeah, but I say
So-
84 too. Like how much longer do you want to live?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Bone cancer is rough too.
Yeah,
man.
that's
they don't.
crazy.
You don't. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you
I've
can't-
never had any pain in my bones. I don't think it's that bad.
Can't get your bones taken out, you know. This ain't Harry Potter.
Yeah. No, that's rough, bro.
Hey, you could 3D print them.
Yeah, that's coming.
Wait, what did that show? Westwood. You ever watch Westwood?
No,
Westworld.
Yeah.
Westworld.
Yeah,
I've heard of
Yeah.
that. I haven't heard of Westworld.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I
such
made,
a good
I made
show.
Westwood up. Westworld.
No,
is
Westwood
the
is a show too. It's like a southern.
Yeah,
That's
like
what.
a western.
That's when you're laying on your left side and you wake up with morning wood. It's a Westwood.
Westward facing.
Westwood. Yeah, no, Westworld. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an awesome show.
Yeah.
So good.
Did you watch that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they like do the 3D printing of the humans. And,
Yeah, I don't know if they're still doing it. I kind of lost track of that.
Well, that's something that's really happening. There's I remember reading about it like 2 or 3 years ago. They found a way that they can basically 3D print out of like some sort of organic material. They can 3D print essentially the stud, like the structural, like, you know, makeup of like a heart.
Yeah.
And then they impregnate it with stem cells.
And the muscle grows over it, right?
Yeah, and they literally grew a heart inside of a, like,
It's like a
this
mold
giant jar
for a heart.
Yeah. Basically, it's like a wireframe of a heart.
Wow.
And they impregnate it with these stem cells, and then the stem cells.
Yeah,
That's what's so like beneficial, and why there's so much research behind stem cells, is because it's the only cell in your body that can grow to be anything.
Right. Yeah, that's wild. dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be
Like
it's
if
gonna
you
be
have skin
interesting.
cells, when they reproduce, it's only skin cells. Stem
Right.
cells, they can
manipulate.
yeah, they can turn into anything that it needs to turn into.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Seems like a good time to transition into the DNA laws that
Wow. Look how we did that so organically.
that Florida just implemented. So yeah, to me, this seems like something that should have already been illegal. And so I think it's good they're getting ahead of it, because, I mean, right now, I guess you can kind of say, like, you know, what really are they going to do with your DNA? But we all know how quick technology goes, and there's all these crazy things going on that we don't even know about. And, you know, who knows what they'll be able to do with DNA in 20 years. So, in Florida, they made it this bill, HB 833. So submittal of another person's DNA sample for DNA analysis without the person's express consent is a third-degree felony. So, like, if you send someone else's DNA to, like, 23andMe or something, that's a third-degree felony.
Oh, wow.
Disclosure of DNA results without the person's express consent is a third-degree felony. And the sale or transfer of another person's DNA sample without their consent is a second-degree felony.
Wow.
So, yeah, in Florida, third-degree felonies like 5 years in prison, up to 5 years, and a $5,000 fine. Second-degree felonies up to 15 and $10,000 fine. So, yeah, they're taking it seriously, and I think that's probably the right call, because it's like, you know, who knows what the hell they'll be able to do with that info.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much, you know, bio kind of engineering. It's one of those fast-growing kind of industries, and like you said, who the hell knows what they're going to be able to do in 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, I know for me, like, a lot of people are trying to get my DNA. You know what I'm saying? They look at me
because you're right.
They look at me and they're like, I want that.
Because you're gay.
I want to be just like him. You know?
They're like, I want his seed.
Yeah. But
because you're O positive. Or what is it?
I'm O negative.
O negative.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Get that right, please.
Yeah, sorry.
But universal donor.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah, O negative
cheers
boys.
to that.
Now we got a bunch of people who are going to do
Not
So I know
not
I
so
know,
rare as you thought, huh?
Well,
I know, like, you know, causation doesn't need whatever the saying is, but like, what is the saying? It's causation or correlation doesn't equal causation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Window.
We say it
Right.
all the time.
Yeah. So, like, is it possible to have correlation without some causation? Because you both are O negative and you're both retarded. So, is there something that we like?
So
I'm offended.
Oh, yeah, this is one of those weird things where when I heard about this law, I was like, oh, that's good. But, you know, as an anarchist, like, obviously laws are dumb and just meant to be broken. So, like, as far as, like, libertarian anarchist viewpoints, how can we be in favor of these laws, but also, like, you know, stick to our...
Well, I
like,
mean, I think it's in direct, like, a violation of your...
Right, and that's kind of where
Property,
I was, kind of what I made up
Like,
in my
that's
head.
your
yeah.
DNA. It's not for somebody else to, like,
Yeah.
take and examine
Right.
and try to make babies out of, in my situation.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, like, just, you know, like, in the absence of laws, you're kind of governed by, like, your morality, right? So, in our, I mean, it's like, we wouldn't have a problem with the laws against, like, murder and stuff like that. So it's, you know, there's always room for laws, but it's, I guess it just depends, like, how
Morally binding laws.
right. But yeah, no, in that case, I think it's totally immoral to take someone else's, like, DNA
Yeah.
info
For
and,
sure.
like, sell it.
Yeah, and like, I don't have any problem with somebody being punished or me being compensated for somebody doing something to me like that, you know? You know,
Yeah.
like, I mean, that's the other part of it, too, is like, I mean, I know we don't always agree on putting people into tax-funded prisons for them to sit and not necessarily repay you back.
Right, yeah.
You know, the
Right, like we
violation-
should be running, you know, experimental trials on them.
Yeah, at least a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also giving me back what they owe me, which
Yes.
is something.
Yeah,
I
like,
think-
the part I have the biggest problem with is that either they're going to go sit in a cell and rot, or they're going to pay a fine to the state. And then the
Yeah.
person who was wronged literally gets nothing.
Yeah, it's
you
a
know,
terrible system.
Other than the satisfaction of knowing that someone's rotting in a cell if they're into that
But
kind of thing.
yeah, but that's exactly if you're into that. How long does that give you, you know, gratification?
And that goes for any law, like, including
Yeah.
murder. You know, it's
Right.
like, what do you get whenever some guy's sitting in a cell for the rest of his life?
Right, like they should
a
be your
bill
sl-
from the government to
Yeah.
keep him alive. That's what you get.
You should legally be allowed to own that person.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, I mean, on some
Seriously.
at some level, right?
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I agree.
So I think I come from this, not a different point of view, but I thought of it differently, where a lot of the wording in the law is consent, obviously, because obviously you agree to a contract.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't, well, they do in some cases, the state makes it illegal, but in this case they're not. But I would assume that in a lot of those DNA, because this has come up, this is something people say, like, oh, I read the terms of service on my DNA test, and it says they're going to use it and they could possibly sell it. Well, by you clicking, I consent or I approve the terms of service, you're contractually saying you're consenting.
Yeah.
So which would bypass this completely.
Exactly. Right.
Which is what everybody does.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, when you sign up on Facebook, Twitter, any of those things.
Yeah.
Even when you get a new phone, that's like one of the first things you have to do is agree to the terms and services. And who the fuck can actually sit down and read all that?
Well, everybody can, just no one wants to.
Well,
because I have better things to do.
Not only that,
I can't read. So
watch Rugrats.
Yeah. But it's like even if you could read, I mean, you're almost in a position where you kind of have to agree with it because like, what are you going to do? Not have? I mean, like, let's be realistic. In
the guy like sells you a
like,
phone. He sells you a phone. He's like, here's the terms of services. Just hit agree. And you're like, I'm gonna need a few minutes or an hour or 2 hours.
Grab me a drink. I'll be a little bit.
I'm gonna need my lawyer here.
But I mean, at the same time, it comes to the point where it's not necessarily having a lawyer, but you'll get to a point where a lot of those things probably should be looked at.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just that the system we're in, getting that lawyer costs you fucking way too much money.
Yeah.
And it's just so not the norm, right? Because, like, back in the day, I think it was more maybe common. He's like a family lawyer, right? That lawyer, like, served your family. Not served, like a fucking slave, but, it was like, oh, this is what my mom and dad use. I'm growing up. This is who I'm going to use for my lawyer.
Yeah, like, people used to have, like, lawyers that was, like, their lawyer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anyone our age that, like, has a lawyer.
No,
like,
it's
like their
for the worse,
guy.
it's probably something that's gone away.
Yeah.
On account of my like personality, I have to keep one on retainer pretty normally, but
No, I
most people don't.
I think with anything like that, if you find somebody who's good and like you stick with them through your family, like my mom has a guy like that, and my mom has a guy like that who's helped her out with a lot of stuff like medical stuff, and he's great,
Yeah.
No, you can make that same thing with doctors, right? People used to have family doctors, and in a sense they still do. They're called your general practitioner, but it was more like family based in the sense where this is what all our family goes to, and they'll touch your balls from 2 to 22. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you got to get a different one.
Well, now you do, but I think back then you didn't really have to. But no. So with the DNA thing, it's just I'm glad. I guess if they're gonna make a law, which they always are going to currently, I'm glad they made this just in case some fuckery does happen. You at least have some avenue of legal backlash.
Right. Yeah, something
then you can get into like the debate if that's actually going to even do anything, which who
Probably
knows.
won't.
But one thing I did look in this article as well. I can't remember if it was added to this law or it was another law they've done with DNA. Is they don't allow insurance companies to look at DNA information of clients and make judgments on your premium based on that. Which, I don't know how I feel about that.
I took a DNA test and it turns out that I'm 100% that bitch.
Yeah.
But
I don't, it doesn't surprise me at all.
I mean, yeah, but to go back to what you were saying, this goes back to a lot of libertarian philosophy, but as a company, whether, in this case, the insurance companies, we're obviously in favor of discrimination, right? A company should be able to
completely
decide to represent you or not represent you based on really whatever they see fit. So I think that's probably not a good thing that they can't, discriminate.
Well, yeah.
They can't look at your DNA and decide, on your premiums. Because if I'm a health insurance person and I'm insuring, let's say, Cameron and, I don't know, a guy like Tim Dillon, I'm going to charge Tim Dillon a lot more. He's
of course
extremely overweight, smokes a lot of cigarettes.
I think from like a basic, so we have to, from a libertarian point of view too. Like the other thing is too is like how much do we allow like companies to like see into like our like for instance like our DNA like
that's the thing.
What business do they have?
That's like medical privacy.
Yeah,
well, I think that's true. But I wonder if this is more of like an insurance company's like, hey, if you send us your DNA, you could possibly get 20% off. Right?
Oh yeah, but then they can't give you 20% on top. Is what you're saying.
Well, no, I'm saying I don't think this. What if the law is how it read, and that a sentence or two, looks like you can't even send them your DNA information.
Oh, okay.
But I thought that was of your consent, right?
But no, this is different.
Oh.
Again, this is like it was like at the end of the article. It was like they're talking about other laws that are similar to this.
Okay.
That have to do with DNA.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be okay with, like, let's say you send your DNA to Ancestry.com and they send it back, you know, you find out you're 100% that bitch, and then, and then, like, the insurance company just, like, calls up Ancestry and they're like, hey, yo, you have, the DNA information for Nick? And then they're like, yeah, he's 100% that bitch, and they're like, oh, shit, we need to...
Oh, yeah, no, that I'm not in a favor.
Yeah,
so
no.
that would be bad, but, like, if you're sending your DNA to the insurance company in the hopes that you're going to get like a discount, then I mean, I don't see why it, you know, wouldn't make sense that if they find out something that's not good,
Well, right.
that-
Charge you more.
Yeah.
Consent is the biggest thing, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Always consensual.
Always consensual.
But yeah. But I mean, I think this is in line with how everybody is. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Remember when insurance companies wouldn't cover pre-existing conditions?
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I think this is kind of in line with that, where it's, well, insurance companies shouldn't have to charge you more because you're born with this genetic makeup, right?
Mhm.
Which I don't know if I think it makes sense, because the whole point of insurance
you don't have to
is
buy
like
insurance.
yeah, that,
Like,
and it's like not a gambling game, but it's insurance.
yeah, it's
Like
statistics.
I mean, it kind of is a gambling game, though. Yeah, you're gambling on the fact that you're going to be healthy or you're not, and
Well, yeah, well, in a sense too, it's the company saying,
they're investing in your health,
yeah,
basically.
we're like, hey, we'll give you this X amount if something happens, but we're not gonna make you pay $20 if you're Tim Dillon and you smoke a pack a day, you're heavily overweight, you know, you're gonna have to pay more than $20, you know, because the likely chance of you getting sick and us having to pay out for it is higher.
Yeah. Let's just keep ripping on Tim Dillon.
Yeah, I know.
So
He's not going to be happy with this.
yeah,
But,
'cause he's a big listener.
Yeah,
definitely.
but I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just another way where now everybody's insurance goes up
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a good point.
because they
Yeah.
can't discriminate.
Yeah, that's what happens with the pre-existing
Correct.
conditions, right? Yeah,
They just
Everybody
assume
pays
everybody
for it.
has pre.
Well, they have to,
conditions.
because
Yeah.
now they have to cover everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
True.
Woo! Insurance talk. I love it.
Yeah.
Love talking insurance.
You haven't had insurance forever, right?
No,
You're like
I'm free.
anti-insurance.
I'm free Willy, dude. Set me fucking free.
It's a free spirit.
Set you free.
Insurance is a scam, dude.
But he's like, I just don't want to be, tied down by the constructs of
If you like, I feel like
society.
I feel like now, if you don't get it through your company, it's pretty much almost
not worth it.
not worth it if you're my age and
Yeah.
like my health group, right?
That is true. Yeah.
Because I was looking at it when I got my my parents' insurance.
You just have to be careful. I know you're like into that the ram bone, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
I take
mean,
precautions.
Okay, all right, yeah. Well, that's the biggest thing. You don't want to have like a
Yeah, I
anal
know.
rupture,
No,
or some
no.
fissures, and
That's
I
why
was
you have,
gonna
that's
say,
why
I don't want you to elaborate on that.
that's why that's why there's gauze.
prolapse your anus.
It's got, oh, jeez.
You
But,
can only stuff so much of that back in before
That's-
you need,
well,
medical attention. Anyway,
You know,
go
people
ahead.
live a long time. But
I've
no,
heard it's quite nice if you massage the prolapse. Anyway,
what was I gonna say? No, because like I looked at it and it was just bare minimum for me to even get insurance was like $2,600 a month,
That's insane.
and I was like,
wait,
That- I-
2,600?
I might have been, it might have been $1,600, but
That's
26.
still a lot.
That's
though.
no,
it's still-
That's
that's-
a lot.
Still, like
Still, that's
you,
a lot.
I did the pros cons, and like I had to buy like medication every so often, and even if I got like even if I got 100% off that medication was free, I'd still be under by like $12,000.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
insane. Right, that's insane.
And so it was like, oh well, that's an easy decision to make.
yeah, right.
I mean,
Thanks, Obama.
and most of the time, like if you go to a doctor, I know we talked about this before, but if I go to a doctor, if something happens, I just pay cash. I feel like it's not that much different than what my wife, who has insurance, does.
Yeah, it generally isn't a lot different. Every once in a while, I see people tell me about their plans that like they just have these special prices and stuff where they save a bunch of money on medication. I personally, I don't have any like regular medications or anything, so I don't really pay attention to that stuff much.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's definitely obviously it's one of those things. As you get older, and you might be going to doctors more often, it's more lucrative at that point. But I'm not gonna. Social Security I have to pay into because I'm forced to, punishable by death or jail. I don't want to do that with my insurance. I pay into something where people in the top end get more out of it than I do.
Right.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yep.
So, did you guys read about that task force for the condominiums?
Yeah.
Pull up
Yeah,
the
I thought
article.
that was,
I would assume you
Interesting.
guys might have.
yeah, so it's
There's
like
some-
a bunch of lawyers.
Yeah, we
decided,
talked about in that one episode way back when this happened. The unfortunate event of the condominium collapsing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that? That was like March, right? This year? Maybe a little.
I wonder, like, has anyone heard like any updates on that? Like,
No, me and Chris were just talking about that on the ride over here. I'm like,
As
there's
far as,
nothing.
like
what-
responsibility
What
goes.
update do you want? It fell.
Yeah.
no, I know, but they were like looking for people, and then you like kind of just stopped hearing about
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
Well, in this
unfortunately-
article, in the article it said it killed 98 people, so it seems like almost all the
Every-
people that were missing were
Died.
found. Yeah, that they didn't find
I
them.
mean, it's
Wow.
it's very unfortunate, but
That's a ton of people, dude.
when you get
Yeah.
a concrete sandwich, it does not end well.
No.
Yeah, no.
That's
Unfortunately,
Yeah, you think about the amount of debris and like how much that weighs, and you're just between two concrete slabs.
I
like
mean,
you're turning into jelly. You're
It
just
doesn't
flattening
doesn't
out.
end well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
doesn't end.
gone. So I guess the the conclusion in this report that these it was basically like a group of lawyers got
Yeah.
together and came up with some suggestions.
yeah,
for,
they were appointed to this again, the task force,
yeah,
to make sure the laws were good enough so this never happens again.
right. And so they said their conclusion was basically this: the lack of uniform maintenance standards or protocols, and the unguided discretion given to boards of directors to determine when, how, and if life safety inspections should be performed requires legislative intervention.
Not
so,
surprised by that.
Yeah.
You know, you heard it here first. It was an inside job.
Just so they could increase the legislation on condos.
Yeah, they wanted to get a stranglehold on the
I
condo
mean,
industry.
and anybody thinking like, "Wow, you guys are fucking dicks. This is terrible."
Yeah.
True, we are dicks. But second,
It
our
is terrible.
government's done worse
Yeah.
to more
Oh,
people.
My God, I know.
Facts. No, but they kind of go into just kind of trying to justify, you know, what they're doing, and so one of the things they did to kind of try and justify it in this article was they just go into like the sheer number of condos in Florida, and so just implying that like, look at all this anarchy, like we gotta like rein this in, but like all they're saying is there's 1.5 million condos in Florida, and one of them collapsed.
Yeah, it does the opposite
So like,
of what they
to me,
were
that kind of
intending.
has the opposite
Yeah.
effect. But you know,
Right.
What is 1 in 1.5 million?
depends how you look at it, I guess.
Yeah, right. Right.
Remember, you only use percentages when it's to your favor.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Hey, what is it? Hashtag Navy nuclear testing offshore
Oh.
can't melt steel beams.
Yeah,
Can't collapse condo buildings
just look
100
into
miles away.
Just
Yeah.
look into it, all right?
Yeah.
Just look into
We
it.
went pretty in depth with this on that one episode too.
We did.
Of how like
We went.
That-
Some might say balls deep.
yeah, but how this was pretty much like a really intense anomaly that would, you know, obviously if they could find out, you know, we said probably in a year or two they might find the actual pure reason, but it would make sense. But again, it's an anomaly. Like this is probably a perfect storm.
It's the mole people digging tunnels underneath
Yeah.
the buildings.
The chances happening is again probably super low, and we went into depth. If I remember correctly, we went into depth too of how there are a good amount of
Like inspections.
inspections that have to
Right.
be done.
Yeah, and they did do a bunch of inspections, and basically the people responsible for doing them. That's what it seemed like, is that the people responsible for the maintenance kind of just brushed them off or
Right.
something. I
And
don't
I'm
know.
sure those
And-
people will get sued. to
and
death.
this exemplifies exactly what we're getting at. There's laws in place already, and they were overlooked.
right.
So what?
What's the point?
Yeah, what is making more laws going to do? I mean, this happened with all these, measures in place already. Putting
Right.
more measures in place isn't going to,
No.
not going to do anything.
And
Yeah,
this-
if you have a kind of a slumlord attitude towards things,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
like, I'm
Yeah.
fucking.
So one of the things they're trying to do is they want to basically guarantee that the condo, the organizations running the condos are going to have enough reserves in place to do all of the upkeep that they need to do for like life-threatening type of, structural problems or something like that.
So know what you need now? You need another branch of government
The
to just check on condos.
the U.S. Condo Association.
We have that. I think we went on that episode where there's its own, but there's a certain part of the state government that taxes all these condo associations, and they take a good chunk of money. And the whole point of that is to educate the condo associations, like, again, put that money back into them, say, hey, this is what you have to look out for. And if I remember correctly on the episode we were talking about it, they didn't even use that money for the education purposes. They allocated it to something else. So,
and just to kind of not snowball, but to kind of jump back, how we were talking about, these laws and how very rarely do the families actually see some sort of, compensation, right? Like the families that are actually affected. This reminds me. So in a class I took, it was a designing, building against basically failure. And in one of the studies we did, it was the Hyatt Regency walkway collapse. It was a hotel built in 1981, and the engineering company, they wanted to build these elaborate, basically suspension bridge walkways between the 4th and 2nd floor, like they were two separate walkways.
Yeah.
And they ended up changing the design last minute, and they overlooked some things. And the day that they had like their opening ceremony, the extra weight from people walking across the walkways, the 4th walkway collapsed onto the 2nd and brought the whole thing down. Like it was like 160 people that died, I think.
Holy shit.
And out of the $3 billion that this company had to pay out, or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, $3 billion, only 140 million of that was like what the victim saw. Which is like insane. That's insane. That's
like, where does all the other money go?
Hey, don't ask those questions.
Yeah, that's less than half of the money that,
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible. And the one thing I did read that this task force wanted to do, which, I mean, if the task force just did this and they got rid of everything else, they'd be like, wow, that was a really good use of this tragedy. Not that it should be, but again, that something happened. Is they stated they wanted local governments have a higher level of accountability for inspection reports.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to strip them of their sovereign immunity protections. So civil claims against the government agencies could be higher than 200,000.
Yeah,
which is fucking crazy. There's a limit.
That's crazy. And yeah, I was gonna comment on that. And you I know exactly what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get brushed away.
They're just gonna stop doing the inspections. And so it's all going to be third-party inspections, and the county and all the government agencies, they're going to refuse to do any of the inspections because they don't have their immunity anymore.
That's
the whole reason they fucking do it in the first place, because they can just do it and fucking it doesn't matter,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and we're seeing a lot more of that, like in the engineering field with like structural inspections and stuff. The county wants to do less and less and less, and I think it's probably because they're being asked to take more and more accountability.
That's good, though.
So, yeah. No, it's good, because that money's going into the private sector instead of instead of the government.
Yeah.
So
instead of paying a bloated county system.
Yeah, they don't want to do anything unless, like, if their feet have to come off the ground, they won't do it.
That's
like
good.
They'll look at like rebar and footings, and that's like about it.
Hey,
motherfucking nice house.
But yeah, so that's the flipping, and what? So it was only. It's been what, maybe 6 months since it happened.
No,
something like that.
It's gotta be
really
pretty close, right?
Florida.
It was one of our early episodes.
Yeah, it was. I know it
started in February.
4 days ago. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, time has slowed down quite a bit.
What was it? Surf City?
Surfside.
But yeah, I was just gonna say it's
right.
I remember talking about this task force when we talked about in the episode.
June 24th.
Okay,
that's
like 4 months.
4 months. Wow, feels like a lifetime. But yeah, I mean that task force. I mean, I don't know the typical length of a task force time to come to a conclusion, but it seems like
well, if it involves the government.
Yeah, exactly. But it looks like this was a third-party hire.
Yeah, and I mean, I could see a lot of people saying, what is so bad about forcing these organizations to hold more cash to take care of necessary repairs? And I mean, I can see that, that viewpoint, but that's the thing. Like, this is a anomaly, as we know, and so these are things that are already accounted for. There should be accounted for,
right?
And this was obviously a case where these people just completely neglected things that they needed to be doing in this building. So I don't think. I really don't think that's going to make a difference, because the only difference it's going to make is it's going to fuck over people that live in these buildings, and they're going to be charged more.
It's just it's a hidden tax that they're going to have to pay.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. When something is just negligence, like, we don't need to rewrite the system. Like, oh, somebody along the line failed, and now they have to pay the consequences.
Right. Make whoever, bypass these laws or these regulations, make them, hold them accountable. And, like, why is it every single time that there's something, tragic that happens, like you said, why do we need to completely rewrite the system?
Like, there doesn't have to be a law. There's just, like, in law, there's a thing called, basically reasonable, reasonable action that you should be taking, otherwise that's negligence, right? I don't know what it's called. I'm not
that sounds right.
Lawyer. But, like, a reasonable person is expected to act a certain way in
a reasonable doubt, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Right. Well,
that's
thinking
something
of,
different.
Of, like, crap, I can't think of the word. Is it tort law? I don't know, but basically, like, you're supposed to take a reasonable action when you're presented with a certain, risk or something. So, like, if you're given, for example, an engineer's report that says there's these, like, critical structural failures happening in the building, there's, the foundation sinking, or, like, these types of things, you're required to take some sort of reasonable action to try and correct it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's negligence. So,
right, because that's such, like, an arbitrary, like, how do you determine that? And that's
like,
what
are we
going to
do? We're going to make a individual law for every single reasonable action that you should ever have in life.
Right,
like,
you can't do that.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that's what they're trying to do, slowly but surely.
Yeah, just kind of, like, codify everything. Every single action you could possibly take in your life is going to be codified in a book that's, like, as tall as the fucking stratosphere.
Wow, that's tall.
Yeah, I feel like they've gotten pretty close already.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It is.
How many federal laws are on the books?
God, I'm sure you can't even figure that out. Just like we try to
many.
find out how many executive orders are still active. It's like 404. Cannot find.
600 new federal laws are created every 2 years.
Jeez.
Not as many as I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
That's what I thought, but still too
Well, you
many.
got to think about how slow everything works in government. So
How many
about-
how many task forces there are?
Yeah.
It's about
Created.
598 too many.
Yeah, that's it.
Speaking of large numbers, those manatees, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Still on ticking. We're not there yet. What? I'll say we're not there yet, boys. We still got to get those
I was
numbers
going to
a little
say
higher.
we're doing good. We're doing decent though, promoting the mass
manatees.
slaughter of manatees. Yeah, because
Yeah.
now the FWC is asking for $7 million as manatee deaths spike in Florida. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission data shows the number of deaths is getting closer to 1,000.
Oh God! Not
See, this is the problem, though, is when you're the little guy and you're trying to slaughter manatees and you
Right.
got the government fighting against you trying to save them, it's kind of tough.
It makes it tough.
It's tough
it
out
does.
there.
I don't know.
But
But
you
we
know
got
what?
good-
You know what?
We're putting numbers up.
Things worth fighting for are never easy.
That's the word.
So if you're in this fight to kill manatees like us, just stick it
going.
out.
Hang in there. Come on. We can beat them in numbers.
I mean, if anything, right? We talked about the grouper. Right? That's what we talked about last week.
We did talk about grouper. Yeah, the Goliath grouper.
I mean, they get so big, I can just call them manatees, and I'll be happy.
True.
But
Yeah.
I don't
wanna
see
kill
that
something
I
giant.
don't see that grouper thing taken off. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, it's
Oh, no.
dumb. The law is
Yeah.
dumb. We've already
Well,
talked about
yeah,
it.
not only that, like the whole law is like to combat. Well, one, it's a big money grab. Obviously, $500 for a lottery permit.
Oh,
it's
it's for sure.
ridiculous. I
Yeah.
mean, alligators are more endangered than the Goliath grouper, and they're not even. Well, it's $200 for a lottery tag.
Yeah.
So it's $500 for a lottery tag, and you can only keep 20 to 36 inch.
Which is hard to find.
Right, and
Yeah.
the justification for this new special privilege permit is it's supposed to combat the Goliath groupers that are destroying the reefs. The ones that are in between 20 and 36 inches aren't the ones that are doing that. It's the fucking ones that are 400 or 500 pounds.
Yeah.
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 So
That's funny.
Which
that
again,
and
is
I don't
manatee.
see people paying that money for that. You know what I mean?
No.
No.
No, but to get back on the manatees.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say.
No.
To get back on
So
manatees.
I was looking at again. The FWC is the great and amazing part. I mean, I'm sure some people here have more contact with them than others. They love just the Florida Wildlife Control. They're just great people. Super nice. Always easy tempered.
Yeah.
Never out of control whatsoever, or a little wiry.
Always very rational in everything
Yep.
they do. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not the Nazis on the water, like people like to call them.
Oh,
But so they're like everybody else right now is screaming about all these manatees dying. They want $7 million, and most of it that they said they want it for was to take in the sick manatees
and feed them.
and feed them.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And they put like a little bit and restore the seagrass.
Yeah. That's what the article seemed like.
Yeah,
What are you
in
gonna
this
do, just
article it
fucking-
even says that whoever this Dr. Patrick Rose said that the seagrass manatees eat. Oh wait. It takes a lot of money and it takes more because the right amount of funding and attention wasn't given to protecting the water quality, leading to the algae blooms that shaded out the seagrass. Dr. Patrick Rose with the Save Manatee Club said, which we are actively fighting this
So they're saying
association.
it's solely because of the algae.
Well,
blooms
yes, that's
that
what
were-
it says. Rose says that's the seagrass that manatee eat, and now they are starving to death. His club is a nonprofit organization which we here at Politics on the Rocks spend close to $1 million this year already fighting this this club, this organization.
Yeah. They're backed by the state, so
It's tough.
Yeah, it is.
We don't have much
we
money.
We
but
don't have $7 million, but we have our hatchets and we have kayaks.
Yes, join our Patreon to help us fight the fight.
But yeah, so the whole thing they want to do is just pay more people to go out, find sick manatees,
and feed them.
pick them up,
Yeah.
which good luck. I don't know how you pick those things up.
You pick them up with hatchets
Yeah.
and gaffs.
Bring them to a fucking tub in your house filled with water and just force feed an iceberg lettuce until I don't know when. Cause how do you release it back into the wild?
Yeah, what do you do after that? Just fucking, oh my god.
Yeah,
They're
what do
gonna-
you do? You release a manatee that natural selection probably should have killed off already, right? If it was sick.
Yeah.
And then you're putting it back into an environment where it's not going to thrive because there's not enough seagrass already.
Yeah.
There's
And-
gonna be so many fucking manatees at SeaWorld, it's gonna be unbelievable.
Dude,
Yeah.
just start eating them, dude. If I see manatee on the menu, I'm gonna be happy.
Wait until the colored hair people start screeching about captive manatees.
But,
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, again, because the whole thing is, we need to feed them. There's no seagrass, but we want to make sure that the amount of manatees that are in the ecosystem is abnormally high that it should be. It's you're burning both candles, or
Yeah.
burning the candle at both ends, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but, well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, this is the thing that we've talked about from the beginning with the manatees is that they eat a ton of grass. They eat a ton of seagrass. And when you have a ton of manatees, you have a lot less seagrass, right? So it's like the more manatees there are, the less seagrass is going to be. And the seagrass doesn't you're not giving any time for the seagrass to grow back while there's this plethora of sea cows out there just eating it all.
Mm-hmm.
So the issue is complicated because the water quality isn't great, and that's one of the reasons we don't have seagrass. But the other reason is that there's a ton of manatees.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah,
lot
the
of
little
manatees
seagrass that does develop gets
get eaten.
immediately.
So it's complicated. So it's like, all right, so what do? You pay $7 million
Yeah.
to these folks to go out and feed these guys cabbage or whatever, and hope that they live and find more grass to eat. So I don't know. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna like focus on fixing that solution, I would say pour more money into fixing the water quality problem, and just let the manatees continue dying.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then
know.
if the that's really the main thing is they're dying because of their ecosystem.
Yeah.
So if you fix the ecosystem, which really, I mean, how naive do you have to be as a human to think that you could fix the ecosystem? Like, just fuck off, right? That's the best thing you could possibly do.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point.
But yeah, so no, and the fact that in that article they like pretty much solely say that like algae blooms are the cause for all this seagrass leaving, like it's much more complicated than that.
I think so too.
Yeah. I mean, even
And maybe we joke around about like fucking killing the manatees and shit. Maybe we're off about the manatees being such a big contributor to eating all the seagrass. I don't know, but they certainly don't help, right?
No, I mean it's like they eat a lot of
Especially
seagrass.
if like you said, there's like an artificial number of them because we're conserving them to such a high degree.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And even in that article, the doctor, whatever her name was, stated that it takes like a decade to even like change the wildlife. Like I'm assuming that means the waterways, the health of it. So it's like you're just going to continue to keep this abnormal amount of manatees alive for a decade. Like,
Yeah.
just put them in ponds.
In the county, the regulation for when you have cattle on a property is they each have to have an acre of grazing land.
Right.
So, I mean, do we have that for the manatees in the water?
No.
I don't know.
And another interesting thing during the article is they wanted to look into biologists having the ability to feed manatees in the wild.
Officials are also looking into biologists feeding manatees this winter, which is currently illegal for anyone to do, but there's a lot of questions surrounding it. To add that to an environment where these manatees are, and how does that affect the rest of the habitats, and will manatees even eat it? If you see a distressed or sick manatee, you're
Call
asked
politics on the rocks.
You're asked to
call us.
exterminate
We'll be right
it with extreme prejudice. Nice.
No.
I like that bit at the end. That's nice.
Yeah, that was good.
But I read that. I'm like, it's just so funny that because they were on the endangered list and they got off, for some reason it's still illegal to feed them.
Yeah.
And hunt them.
Yeah, and hunt them, obviously, right? But like these people want to save them, and in general, people want to save them, but you can't feed them if you see them dying. It's like, good luck, buddy. And like,
Just pat them on the head.
Yeah.
Hope
like
you get better.
It's like, I wish, but the state won't let me give you cabbage.
No. They want the state wants you to call them so they can feed them.
Well, now they do, right?
Yeah.
Now they're like,
Whoa, yeah,
fuck, maybe
yeah.
we need to.
They're like, we want to feed the manatees.
Yeah. Like, the biologist's like, well, we probably should feed them, but only us. Because obviously our cabbage is better than your cabbage.
Cam, did you see that floating around over the last 2 days? This post by the IGFA.
A bunch of manatees in the water
yeah, that was that. No, he didn't. We were out there doing that, so he would have seen that.
floating
But
around dead.
no, I guess this post, the International Game and Fish Association.
Yeah.
Recently, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and the Florida Department of Environmental Protection announced the awards for the wastewater grant program established by the Clean Waterways Act. A total of $114 million was awarded for a project aimed at decreasing nutrient loads and improving water quality around the state. The Indian River Lagoon, which is the most biodiverse estuary in North America, will receive 46% of the grant funds in an effort to address algae blooms and seagrass health.
Yeah.
Yo, what if they did a study and they found out that all the the overloading of nutrients into lagoon is like 100% because Cam shits on all the islands. Like he is the sole contributor to the problem.
Nutrient load.
They
in the
released like
lagoon.
a 250-page report.
Dude,
on how
somebody-
Cam just shits on.
Cam
the
moves
island.
out of state for 1 year and it's like, this is the best year we've ever seen in history.
complete with pictures.
Yeah.
Someone sent me an article.
It's like the Sasquatch sighting, but it's Cameron squatting on an island
all
just
blurry.
fucking dumping shits.
Oh, bro. Sometimes they get you. What are you gonna do?
paparazzi, man.
I don't have a boat. I don't have a bathroom on the boat. But someone actually sent me an article where they were saying like, this is an issue. Everybody's shitting on these islands and everything. And I don't know. Maybe it is. But
Hey, just bring a little shovel.
yeah,
Dig a little hole.
Hey, if it's killing manatees, I'm
Yeah,
in
game.
support of it.
yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to see, like, there's been a lot of talk, about this, how how they do this and the money that's going towards it. I like to see something actually happen with it, like Chris said, like, can we actually do this? Can we actually, I don't know, fund? Is there enough money to actually, like, restore the lagoon and to whatever? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, but it'd be interesting.
The great thing about that question, Cam, is nobody knows the answer to that question.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue.
But there's a lot of people that pretend they know the answer
because they get paid money.
I think this is just personal. I'm speaking personally here, but like I think if you leave it alone and you don't mess with it too much, it can recover. So whatever that means, maybe just stop doing the bad things that we come up like. These are the things we shouldn't do. Like, stop doing those things, And I'm not always saying, like, let's implement more regulation or whatever, but maybe, like, let's not do these certain things or be better about what things we do that influence the lagoon, and then, like, let's leave it alone for it to, like, decide what it needs to do on its own. And it seems like the environment recovers a lot of times, when you do that. But
And not only that, I don't know, and... I don't know. Like, I'd consider myself an outdoorsman, so maybe this, I don't know, kind of contradicts, that aspect of my life. But, I mean, in the last 100 years, I just pulled this up because I was just kind of interested. Like, in the last 100 years, over 500 species have gone extinct. I'm sorry. So, like, what exactly? And maybe this is, me just being ignorant to what. Manatees provide to the ecosystem, but like, what is like, I know this sounds morbid, but like, why do we care if manatees go extinct?
I don't know, answer that question.
Look at that face. Yeah, look at that face.
Yeah, just like that.
Yes, I mean,
It's kind of like a featureless.
Yeah, what do you mean look at that face? It looks like a fucking blob of shit.
I mean, have you looked at Disney movies?
Oh, that one's kind of cute, though.
Look at that thing. Yeah, but that's not what it looks like in real life. That's what it looks like in real life. That thing's hideous.
I mean, like,
it looks like
if you want to do a quick
schnauzer, like an English schnauzer.
Do a quick
but
test,
without any
right?
hair.
Yeah, and who actually likes those dogs?
like, what's the closest animal to a manatee? Probably a hippo, right?
Yeah, probably.
But a hippo is a fucking badass that will kill you immediately.
Exactly my point, and they're doing fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe manatees need to evolve.
Exactly.
Or go extinct.
Stop being little bitches.
They get real angry and they get teeth.
Speaking of hippos, I saw today that they're going to sterilize Pablo Escobar's hippos. Saddest
Why?
day of my life.
They have too much traces of cocaine in their system.
Yeah, they're
we cannot have these things reproducing.
They're really rambunctious hippos.
Freaking a coked out hippo.
Dude, imagine if they
I'm out,
reproduced
dude. I'm out.
a bunch of coked out hippos just fucking. Imagine the offsprings.
Yeah, that's not good.
Dude,
You
imagine
don't need
the
that.
hunt those things would fucking go on.
I know you're sad
absolutely.
about it, but I think it's a good idea.
Imagine hunting those hippos. That'd be the
Oh,
most
shit.
like
Yeah,
Dude,
if I ever
thrill-inducing.
hunt, if I ever hunt like a massive, like just wild game that could easily kill me, I want it to be on cocaine for sure.
so humans on cocaine. You want to hunt humans on cocaine?
Yeah, let's do that one. What was that story they had us read in school about?
Oh yeah,
the
that guy who had the island.
Yeah, and he would hunt the people.
Yeah, what book? What was that?
The greatest sport, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Something like that. The greatest game.
the
Yeah.
greatest hunt.
Greatest game, something like that.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was probably my favorite favorite thing we read.
Yeah, same. I was like, man, this guy's got the right idea.
He's got it going on.
Yeah. I was like, who else? There was like a real world incident of that, right?
I'm sure.
Jeffrey Epstein?
Jeffrey Epstein, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the
You
island.
saw where I was going with that.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, not to change the subject, but to change the subject.
Go ahead.
We haven't talked about Daddy D in a while. And,
Daddy D.
I feel like he's been kind of quiet,
I think it's just
kind
the
of dormant.
legislative part of Florida isn't kind of running right now. Like, so not a lot of laws are being passed, and I think his main thing right now is just
Fatten up for winter.
yeah. But they are throwing around some fines now for some vaccine mandates within Florida.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of interesting to see what's going to happen.
So is what, Key County? Is that a real county, or is that just a county in the Keys?
I don't know.
Or is
No,
it both?
Key County isn't. That's not.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not that I know of.
So I'm
'cause-
guessing they were referring to a county.
Oh,
in the
Leon
Keys.
County.
Oh,
Leon.
County. Maybe
The
that was
Florida
autocorrect.
Department of Health on Tuesday issued a $3.5 million fine for Leon County, home of the state capital.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So it's up in town.
Tallahassee.
Yeah. Okay. So
Monroe County is
So-
the Keys.
finds
Yeah.
Key County. So it must be like a Key County, like an actual like
Oh, I see.
Oh.
I was a little confused. By
very
that.
bad wording.
Saying the municipality violated Florida's vaccine passport law, which prohibits businesses and governments from requiring people to show proof of COVID-19 vaccine. These are people that presumably have been serving throughout this whole time, and now all of a sudden they're basically getting kicked to the curb, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said at a news conference in St. Pete Beach. Later, the governor tweeted, "No one should lose their jobs because of COVID-19 shots." Agreed. The law took effect last month and can result in a $5,000 fine per violation. It is being challenged in court and conflicts with a Biden administration order that companies with more than 100 employees require their workers to be vaccinated or face weekly testing. But we all know that state laws do what? What do they do?
They bend over to federal law.
No. The opposite.
Right.
I can't believe Sakey, the fucking press secretary, doesn't even know
Oh
that.
my god,
Dude,
she's such a
That was
fucking
so
idiot.
embarrassing to watch.
I mean,
She said that the president makes laws,
yeah. Well, I mean,
and that's like
we had
part
a-
of his job.
we had an episode on it. He pretty much does now.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, I guess
It's scary.
So yeah, technically she's right, but you know,
Wrong. At the same time.
Wrong.
but technically she's also wrong.
But
It's
Well, you know what?
unreal.
You just you change the wording, and
it's crazy that
becomes.
that job, like what she does, was it press secretary, right?
Yeah,
That job like just kills everybody who does it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I want
Like-
that. I want that job. dude.
Remember when she like first started? She was like kind of nice. Would just like say, "I'll circle back to that. I'll circle back to that."
dude, she
And
is,
now she like will just be like, "You shut your fucking mouth."
yeah, honestly I look at it and I'm like, oh my god, she's such a bitch. But then also I'm like, you know what? I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, she's been doing it, bro.
But the amount of
But-
shit that she doesn't know is
Yeah.
I don't feel like you can excuse that, because when you look
Yeah.
at what we had before with Trump, like that bitch knew everything. She was on the ball.
The
dude.
last one did.
McEnany.
That's what I mean. Not
Yeah.
That's the thing is she
not
was
Kirby.
She kind
Or
of had
Kirby
this
was her name.
McEnany.
I don't know.
No. Who was it before that?
Joe Schmo. I have no idea.
Oh,
that guy.
Yeah,
Cheney.
no. What?
Liz Cheney.
No,
No, sorry.
It wasn't. I thought it was like Kirby or something.
No, she's the daughter of another Huckabee.
Huckabee. Yes.
Yeah.
I knew it was some stupid ass last name.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I said Liz Cheney. It's I can't remember her first name, but yeah, Huckabee. She's the daughter of.
I
Mike
wanted to
Huckabee.
say the girl who looked like a bulldog.
Yeah.
that
She,
not
oh,
right?
she was the one that whenever they went to North Korea, Kim Jong-un said something about her, like, you know, I don't know, cause he was just like into her or something, cause she was like a big, like, you know, husky woman. He's never seen that in his life, pretty much. And, and fucking Trump, whenever they were like, you know, together, like in their conference room, he like looked at Sarah Huckabee and he was just like, hey, I think you might have to take one for the team. Your husband's gonna miss you, but,
But even Huckabee, she was even pretty good. Like
Yeah.
she like knew relevant answers to relevant questions.
see, that's the thing is like, you can,
Ooh, that is not a
like,
flattering
you
picture.
can look at how Huckabee reacted to the media, how Kayleigh McEnany reacted to the media, and you can say that they were kind of bitches too. But that's the thing is they never said anything that was so wildly fucking retarded, like
Right.
what Saki's been saying, which is just like she's just making excuses for this fucking like ridiculous regime that just like does whatever the fuck they want and calls it, you know, constitutional.
Yeah, so you almost have to ask, like, is it because of who she's the secretary of press for, or is it because she's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like,
is
I
it
was
her
kinda
fault,
like-
or is it who she's standing up for?
she's just playing the game like
That's
all
what
of
I'm
them
saying,
are. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
I mean, she's the thing you throw tomatoes at, you know?
It looks
Yeah.
like she has some thrown at her already. She's not a very. Like,
I know, you expressed how you feel about the way she looks.
Yeah,
But
she's
Does she
not
have a
easy
soul,
on the
Nick?
eyes. No, definitely does not. You can almost see through her. She's so white.
I
But
know the
the,
white background, like the White
Yeah.
House in the background is not as white as her.
Yeah, like extremely pale people
that-
like that shouldn't have rights in this country.
Is that a real background of the White House or a fake one?
So
Well,
you
yeah,
can say
what
you're
was up with that?
anti-white
That was
supremacist?
weird. What's that?
So you can say you're anti-white supremacist.
It depends how white we're talking.
Like the whiter you are,
Yeah.
the least rights you should get.
Right. Exactly.
Fine line with your policies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. No. I guess they
They're
do.
very
They do have
specific,
a.
though.
They do
Yeah.
have a.
They're very
fake
specific
background.
to benefit me.
I'm Italian. I'm not too white. I'm just sort of white.
What were you guys' feelings on that? The whole show gambit of like him getting the vaccine, and then it's like this like weird. Fake
And he's like on
background.
a fucking set, like in a basement somewhere.
I still don't. A lot of people sent me that on Instagram, and I was like, okay. I was like, I don't really get. Like, I get that it's not the White House, but like, I don't know what it all means. Like,
I mean,
I don't know. Like, is it bad? I don't know. Is it good? I don't know.
I think it like sums up pretty much how the U.S. government is.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
Like-
that's a good way to put
And,
it.
like, it doesn't have to be bad or good. It's just they're going to make a set for him to either
Yeah.
do Zoom calls on or to get a fake vaccine. I say fake because I mean Joe Rogan's talked about this a lot, and I would probably agree with him 100% on this. There's no way they gave him the vaccine or the booster shot
The real one.
right then and there.
I
Yeah.
doubt it.
He for sure got it, but there's no way they took that chance. Of,
Oh, right
and-
there on yeah.
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 'Cause,
Right,
like,
he got
what
a
happens-
saline
He just
shot.
passed out, like right there.
Yeah.
fucking-
Because there's a good chance, or there's a even in a possibility, right?
Yeah, even as a 1%
that he
chance,
just
you don't
like
take that
bends
chance.
over, sharts himself, and
Yeah.
falls over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good.
He just
that's not a good
starts
look.
like blurting like racist remarks.
It like counteracts with all the like steroids and shit they have
Yeah.
him locked up on. He's like, these motherfuckers.
But yeah, I just think that whole setup
He just goes off.
is just it sums up pretty good. I don't think they were trying to hide it either, which I know some people were trying to go out like, oh look at this, because then why would they let the press just take pictures of 3 degrees left where you saw, which is how we see it.
Right.
Yeah, I I was on Instagram. I'm kind of going off track here, but this history page I follow posted something like it was a meme about like, oh, people will say that the moon landing was CGI, but this was what CGI looked like in the 60s or whatever, and then post like a picture of Star Wars. or
Yeah, I
something.
saw that.
And I posted some comment, and I said, "Fun fact." And it was a joke, obviously, but a lot of people just have no fucking sense of humor. I was like, fun fact, the moon landing was filmed on the same set as Biden's White House. And it started like a fucking thread of like hundreds of comments. Like people just calling
Nice.
me retarded Trump supporter and shit. Like, it was fucking hilarious.
That's funny. That's awesome. Yeah, it was weird for sure just to see. It's like why do you have to make it look like the White House?
Yeah, like, just make it different. I don't
Yeah.
know, like, it just seems odd. It's like they're trying to like fool people.
Even if not that, just like it's just creepy. Like even if you're not trying to hide it, it's like just don't make it look exactly like the White House.
Yeah, just make it,
Yeah.
your basement dungeon. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all right.
Just make it a man cave, a literal man cave. Hang jerseys on the
That
wall.
would be cooler and probably would help a little bit with him not being one of the worst presidents.
Just build a shelf with a bunch of empty whiskey bottles on the wall, Just
Yeah.
something cool.
Yeah.
Should have done it on the back porch in Florida.
I like that meme where it was like Biden getting his third booster wearing a mask in a fake White House set sums up the
Yeah.
COVID regime. It's like, yeah, it does.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things too. Is like it just goes with some of the stuff that Rand Paul's talked about with just it being like total theater. It's like you look at that and you're like, yeah, well that kind of makes sense. It is kind of theater, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
How about Southwest? Holy shit, that number jumped. So last I saw was 1,800 flights. It jumped up to 2,400 flights within that weekend.
Damn.
yeah, good.
And
And
a
then
couple
Delta-
other airlines jumped in, right?
Well,
a couple more.
American Airlines had a bunch of cancellations, and then Delta came out and said that they're not enforcing the mandate.
That was
I think actually
surprising. I
the
thought Delta
president-
would stick it out to the end.
Yeah, because they're kind of a fancier, if you will, or like a higher
they're like
class.
they're
I
like
mean, you go to Delta, like
them, like American, United.
Yeah,
those
yeah.
are like
the higher class, like
the
airlines.
people you would expect to go along with.
What's
Yeah.
cool is like Delta's not a small company for like a massive
Yeah.
corporation to come out in like direct defiance of the White House.
Yeah.
I like that.
And-
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, you know what? They're looking at the situation and they're like, well, we're not going to lose that kind of money.
And not only that, I'm reading right here. they already say that 90% of their employees are already vaccinated against COVID.
Huh.
Without even mandating anything, so
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably
And
a lot.
just
wow,
so
I like it.
80,000 employees. Yeah, right. Yeah,
Damn.
Like, no, we're good over here.
that's a
bro.
lot.
Chill.
80,000.
And just so
Flip that,
everybody
flip
can
that
follow.
6 upside down, make it a 9.
Who's-
We're good.
Just so everybody can follow. So who's listening? We're talking about we talked about last episode too. The airlines have been trying to mandate vaccines on their employees, and there's been possibly some walkouts and protests.
Oh, you ask Southwest. It had nothing. It was
Yeah,
completely
it was
unrelated.
weather.
Yeah.
So
Weather related.
again, this is like a week later, and more updates have been coming out, and like they just discussed,
There's a lot of bad weather.
Delta has said they're
well,
not going to do
that
it.
was the funny part. Southwest was like, no, it's not that. And then there was like a swarm of pilots that were like, yeah, no, it's definitely that.
Yeah.
They're like, no.
So I don't know if we discussed this last episode, but with the South.
Can I stop it? How stupid do you think they think we are?
I don't mean to interrupt.
This is something I always bring up to people.
Yeah.
What you see in the media and on Twitter, like, these aren't real fucking places. They don't exist in the real world.
Yeah.
So everything you see is either extremely exaggerated or just flat out doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I think that's, just I think that's what you see most of the time. So,
All right. Sorry, Brooke. Go ahead.
No,
yeah, not to cut
you off, but I was saying that. Oh, what the fuck was I saying?
Oh, Jesus.
No, sorry.
dude.
So it was one of those things where, from the last week, now we've seen, like I said, Delta has said, we're not going to enforce this mandate. But I was trying to find places or find the actual. I don't think anything's been passed for these mandates.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think the only thing that's been passed is the federal. So, federal. Let me
well,
rephrase
it was
that.
via executive order too.
Well, no,
right?
I think the executive order that went through is the only thing that it touched on were employees of the state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I was seeing a lot of things being posted how what he talked about during that press meeting to doing it for companies over 100 that never went through yet.
Right.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, look that up because if that's true, then we talked about this during our executive order, or even when we talked about that particular executive order.
Okay, so this is from WhiteHouse.gov. President Biden is implementing a 6-pronged, comprehensive national strategy. What the fuck does that mean?
6 prongs.
6-pronged.
It sounds like a gig or something.
Yeah.
Like.
Sounds like I don't know, some sex device. I
You're getting hexa-dicked.
Or
That is a 6 comprehensive strategy that employs the same science-based approach that was used to successfully combat previous variants of COVID-19 earlier this year.
Stupid motherfucker.
Because we had such success, right? This plan will ensure that we are using every available tool to combat COVID-19 and save even more lives in the months ahead. But, we're going to ignore all the old people that, what's his face killed. While also vaccine and unvaccinated.
right. Well, while he's reading that,
Yeah, sorry. I thought it was going to have
Yeah,
it
you're-
in there, but this is like a whole page of shit.
Yeah, I'm
there.
sure they're gonna fluff themselves up for a little bit.
they gotta fluff it up.
But so based on what I was reading via the Instagram police, that has not even been put into an executive order yet. So this is just him saying this, and then companies running around saying we have to do this now.
Oh, wow.
Which is
fall in
again,
line.
if this is true, we talked about this. I think when he made this order, even if this doesn't go through and it gets fought by the courts, companies are already going to go ahead and implement this, which is scary to begin with.
Well,
Yeah.
that's right. That's what we talked about.
Yeah, which
The Department of Labor's Occupational Safety and Health, so OSHA, is developing a rule
Yeah, so-
that will require all employees.
So it
to
hasn't been
more.
put in
Yeah,
yet.
so it hasn't been put in. But I like how any instance they talk of breakthrough case, it's like they make the comparison 1-to-1. So unvaccinated versus vaccinated, right? They're like, only 1 in however many vaccinated people are getting it. They completely ignore the fact that you're still running the chance of actually getting it versus the chance if you're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, it's not. They're not weighing the chance of you getting it and then the chance of you being unvaccinated or unvaccinated.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's statistics.
Right.
They're
They're
playing,
just saying 1 in 5,000. Well, yeah, that's 1 in 5,000 of vaccinated, but what about the fact that you also have to account in if you even get it, like
Right.
not vaccinated.
Yeah.
So not only are it's not if you get it as an unvaccinated person, it's if you get it, and then if you are even symptomatic, and then if you're even hospitalized, versus if you're vaccinated.
Yeah, and as pretty much every
I didn't make any sense,
respectable,
but in my head I made
pretty
sense.
much every respectable doctor that I've listened to or talked to, their view on this is that this, like, the coronavirus is not beatable. Like, we're not going to get out of this somehow. It's a matter of when we, like, people will talk about herd immunity and they'll consider a vaccine part of that. But that's not true. That's gonna wear off, and you're gonna get coronavirus eventually. Everybody's gonna get coronavirus
Right?
eventually.
I mean, that's the
That's
thing,
kind
too.
of
It's like,
how
yeah.
most, like, doctors that I've listened to who are actually, thinking through this, and, a lot of these guys are the people that at the beginning were talking about how it's gonna mutate. There's no use in getting a vaccine. It's going to mutate. It's not going to be effective anymore. Like, much like a flu vaccine doesn't work for, anything other than the specific thing that
For
it's...
that year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the problem too with prolonging this with ineffective vaccines is you're giving the virus more time to mutate into something worse. Where if everybody just got it and we had proper procedures using things that have shown great success.
Yeah, like stay the fuck in your house when you're sick.
Yeah, take ivermectin. But no, the longer you prolong this, the more time this virus has to, and that's not to say that it won't mutate organically, even if we didn't have the vaccine. It's just the longer you allow these things to fester, the more time they have to mutate into something worse.
Yeah,
and this was something that a lot of very, very smart doctors and biologists and basically anybody outside of the corporate press, this is things that they were saying back in March of 2019.
Yeah, and how like we talked about before on previous podcasts, how the natural progression of a virus is that it gets more contagious and less deadly.
Yeah,
that's just how it naturally progresses because it wants to stay alive. That's like it's like a you gotta think about it as like a living creature trying to maintain its own.
Well, yeah, a
life.
virus has a host. If it kills the host, it's not going to live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So and it gives it more time to spread if the host has it for longer, or maybe the host doesn't know that they have it. They go out in public.
I'd be interested to see the death rates from the Delta variant versus
What
even was the main.
The thing is,
variant.
I don't even think they can differentiate them, right? So like you don't even know.
I don't think in
test,
a normal test, I don't think they can, but
yeah, you got to get like a
right if you're
like a real
somebody
test.
important that.
Yeah. It's just, it's pretty much people decide, depending on when they got it.
yeah,
They're like,
exactly.
oh, this must be Delta.
right. If you got it
Whatever.
past fucking
Yeah.
July, it's a Delta variant.
Right. Yeah, something that I found interesting is well, I mean, I think it's really neat the pilot sort of walkout type thing, and obviously people are seeing that, and these guys are professionals. I mean, they went to school, like a pilot. The thing that I find interesting about it is to be an airline pilot, it requires a lot of time in the job because you have to have so many flight hours.
3,000 hours.
Yeah, so because of that regulation, there's always a demand for pilots, right? Because
It's difficult to
it's
get.
a very difficult process because you have to have so many flight hours, and I think it's interesting to see that. I think that has a lot to do with it because there's a demand for them. They're we could just go to another airline. You know what I'm saying? What if they fire us? We can just move. And so, that demand plus, I'm sure there's some other things, more, decisions that they're making, like they can just like say, I'm just not going to show up, and if you fire me, I just go to Delta. Like I can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I have the ability to do that. Like I have a skill set, a desirable job, so forth. And so it's interesting to see that kind of play into this. And it's not just like, because when we said that they were going to like implement this in like restaurants and things like that, like people were just going to be like, well, I wash dishes. Like I don't care. I'll just wash dishes at the other restaurant, like, if you make me get a vaccine. But this is like a professional job where there's also a huge demand for them, you know what I'm saying? And it's interesting to watch it play out,
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing they don't want, right? Is there to actually be competition in the marketplace in that regard where, like, where some companies are making you get the vaccine and some of them aren't. And then these, pilots and other employees in the airlines actually have an option,
right,
to like leave and go to a different airline.
Yeah, that's worst case scenario for them.
Yeah,
what they want is everybody to do it across the board, and then you have no competition and everything is just the same or whatever.
It cuts out the free market.
Yeah,
right.
But it's interesting to see this play out.
Yeah, and I think I wanted to bring up. Now I remember when you guys were talking about Southwest before. Supposedly, Southwest hires a lot of ex-military too.
Yeah.
So
that's true for most airlines.
Okay.
Yeah, just because they have the flight hour.
Yeah,
what I mean?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if, like, supposedly, or whatever I read on Instagram said, like, Southwest maybe hires a little bit more than the typical.
Could be.
But, that's just interesting, too, to see a lot of ex-military people not want to be mandated.
Yeah.
Regardless if they're vaccinated or not,
Yeah.
A lot of the, like, ex-military and veterans and stuff are, like, super based.
Yeah, they are.
Well, I feel like they come out and there's like, fuck, man. Because, like, what? When
They're
you,
like,
when
what
you go,
the fuck just happened?
when you go in, you get, like, what, 20 vaccines? Or 20 shots or something like that?
Yeah, like, you gotta go, like, on a 2-week training in Africa, and they just fucking jab you in the ass, like, 20 times with random shit.
Right, but these are vaccines that have been around for decades.
Yeah, these are like malaria.
But nevertheless, they've been pumped up with some stuff.
Yeah.
So there's like, hey, I'm out of that. You can't tell them what to do anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sure that has a lot to do with it.
Or some of them are looking at, like, what's another jab?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure there's some of them look at it that way as well.
Yeah. But, I don't know. I to me, this whole situation is very encouraging. I don't know about you guys. I look at this and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, no, you're seeing more and more people kind of wake up to, just to wake up to it all, which is, I think is,
Yeah. I think
I think now is like the best time to promote, these liberty ideas, right?
Of course.
To both sides, because conservatives are starting to wake up to the shit. Democrats, like, the more sane ones, the ones that aren't like, and that's for both sides. But
yeah,
you're starting to see more and more people kind of raise an eyebrow to some of the shit going on.
Yeah, it's the time when it's the most important is when they're, actively trying to use a disaster or a tragedy to advance, government power.
Never
just kind of open people's eyes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think Cameron was stating how, now that we see a lot of, when it comes to pilots or people, because it's not just pilots, it's who.
The air traffic controllers?
Air traffic controllers, but I can't remember if it was us or someone else, another podcast I was listening to called it was Flagrant 2, a podcast by Andrew Schultz, really funny. He calls flight attendants waitresses. He's making fun of them, all in good fun. But it's like they're doing it too, so they're not, they're walking out protesting, which is great. And to see it on a scale like this, which again, like you stated before, was more of like a not local, but restaurant people and maybe people who look at them as like lower class jobs. To see like people who are in the air system or air business to do it is great, because then it maybe get more steam and people are like, oh, I can do this. I don't have to be scared.
I'm sorry, did you say more semen?
More steam with semen.
Oh, gotcha.
Steamed
semen.
It's called steaming.
Yeah.
I like that in my latte.
Steamin'?
Instead of
Well,
steaming,
the crema?
steaming.
The creme?
Come over tomorrow morning, I'll make you one.
Nice.
But,
Steaming.
like, that's all great, and, like, it does help me this. But I guess for me personally, like, on a personal level, what I saw on Joe Rogan was, for me, better. I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
tell us what you saw.
I liked. You're talking about the Sanjay Gupta, right?
Yeah,
Just to be clear.
Mr. Goop.
Mr. Gupta. Mr. Sanjay Gupta. No, I really enjoyed, and I'm really glad that Joe pushed back as much as he did.
Give it a little background for people who maybe didn't listen.
So one of CNN, if not, he's like their head medical guy,
he's like
right?
the CNN
he's
doctor,
like
basically.
the CNN like medical correspondent. He's the Indian doctor. I'm sure all of you have seen by now, and I still stand by my high idea when I text you guys the other day.
Oh, it might be true.
Yeah, so he just, I guess, how he expressed it on the podcast was he randomly wrote Joe Rogan, was like, hey, I want to come on your show. I'm a listener. You know, I enjoy the way you think, and, you know, I think we could have a good discussion. And Joe basically, I don't want to say he let him have it, but he asked him some pretty tough questions that I think most of America's asking right now. And
I wouldn't even say that tough.
Yeah,
I would.
they're just deep
I would-
questions.
No. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're
He's
good.
asking very logical questions that
Yeah.
nobody has yet answered
or
and,
been able to ask.
or been able to ask. And even after the 3-hour conversation, he still didn't really answer most of them. And if he did, he was like, he kind of said, well, you're right. Like,
Yeah.
when he was pressing him, he's like, me, somebody who has gotten the vaccine, or gotten the virus, survived it. I generally, like, I was decent. Like, I got a little sick, but I was fine. I have the natural immunity that's been proven through a lot of different studies to be stronger and longer lasting. I'm healthy. Why should I get the vaccine? And he kept falling back on, well, you can give it to other people. And Joe was like, well, you know what? So can you. And basically at the end of the episode, he's like, you're not leaving until you answer this question because you still haven't given me a straight answer. And he's like, I think he ended up folding and said, like, you know, for someone like you who's healthy and had the, you know, whatever the virus, like, he's like, besides, you know, some arbitrary bullshit, he's like, maybe you don't need to get it.
Yeah.
And even that was like a half-assed answer.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just enjoyed it mainly for that not that moment, but for that ability to now see someone, Mr. Goop, who's been, you know,
The Goop.
pretty much. I mean, he could be Mr. Goop, he could be Mr. Whoever, has been saying the same thing ever since 12 months ago. You know, who gets all this chance on, you know, big media to say these things, to push this narrative, and no one on these media outlets are having anybody ask the questions that Joe Rogan asks, which aren't hard questions.
They're fair questions.
They're fair, logical, simple questions. And someone who's a doctor, who seems like he's a very smart person, you know, he looks like he's probably a good enough doctor to get on a pundit job on, you know, CNN, which even though we can all shit on CNN, it's probably still have to have some credentials to be on there. You know,
he was
couldn't-
probably like the lowest in his medical class.
Yeah.
Just the fact that he has, you know, MD next to his name was
Yeah.
probably enough.
And he'll follow the narrative.
Yeah, but like he couldn't even answer these questions without sounding like he's backtracking in some form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and you could say like, oh, maybe he hasn't like done a lot of confrontational questioning or this, that, or that. It's like, okay, that could be true. He's maybe not a debater, which they weren't having debate. Or maybe, you know, he's not a PhD in the form of like, you know, if you get your PhD, you have to like pretty much, not that I'm a PhD at all, but from what I understand, you write up your doctorate thesis, maybe, if I'm saying this correctly, if anybody wants to correct me.
Yeah, and you have to defend it.
Defend it against people who are probably fucking 10 times smarter than you, and it's a lot of them, and they just shit on you for like however many hours. Right? So like that person, yes, they would be more used to it where they can defend their position. But this isn't something you have to defend. This is something that you've been, you know, Mr. Goop's been saying for the past over 12 months. It should be easier for him to be like, oh yeah, this is why, this is
Yeah,
this.
you should be able to go through the reasoning for why he believes what he believes, right?
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing. You can't put yourself in the spotlight like that and then not be expected to answer, like you said, not even difficult questions. Just be able to answer some of the concerns.
Exactly. And I think...
And he couldn't.
And
He
I,
couldn't.
you know, I think some of that in the way he answered it was, and I think he based a lot of his arguments on the fact that it was the novel coronavirus. So if you're talking about a subject, right, that is novel, right? Like,
he used that to hide behind a lot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
if you coming to the table and you say, "Hey, look, like, know this," and that's how we started the whole conversation, is that this is a novel virus, so meaning that we don't know much about it, you know. So I think in some ways he hid behind that, and I think, and at the end he kind of went back to it. It's like, look, we don't know everything, and I think that's okay to some level with science, but
like, why can't they say that?
But that's my point. But like Bookie said, he had to backtrack on things that he was very confident on. If you're going to be very confident on something, like, there needs to be grounds on which you stand on it.
Yeah.
And you have to, like, present it and be able to answer efficiently those questions.
Yeah, that's like
And
when,
he wasn't able to do that in a lot of scenarios when he was pressed. And I think that's what we all enjoyed, really, about that conversation. I mean, I did. I thought
this isn't us, like, rejoicing in the fact that this guy went on Joe Rogan, and I wouldn't even say he really made himself look like an idiot.
I don't think
we don't
that.
want the guy's career to be over because of it. And it's not going to be, but it was a healthy interaction, and I at least hope it opened up some people's eyes to, like, these people they're putting so much faith in and so much stake in, like, they don't. I don't want to say they don't know as much as you think they know about it, but they can't reason through as much of their policy as you think they can.
As much as they want you to think they can.
It kind of it reminds me of that hearing with Becerra, and
I'm drunk, thanks.
And Rand Paul, where
Yeah.
Rand Paul was just like, he's just like, so you go around calling people, like, saying that they're the equivalent of flat earthers for not getting vaccinated, yet you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah. That's
Like-
such a good point. That's such a good point that you brought that up.
Like, he brought up
You should find
a bunch
that.
of different studies.
Do we want to
That,
just play the whole video?
Yeah, you should find that.
can do that.
Yeah, look up Rand Paul Becerra.
That was a good one.
Oh,
yeah,
it
I
was
remember
good.
watching that.
He was just like, yeah, you're going to call people names, like, just fucking at least be able to back up your shit. But real quick, like, while you're looking at that, I was going to go into, I sent you guys a text about what my father-in-law said about this, like, natural immunity versus vaccine immunity.
Yeah.
And you
And you're
wanna
a
just
doctor.
fill
He's
us
a
in
doctor,
on who
right?
he is
Yeah.
for those of you that
Yeah, he's
don't
a
know.
doctor. I bring him up a lot
Yeah.
during these coronavirus things because I talk to him a lot about this stuff, and he's the kind of guy that you get him a glass of wine and you bring up coronavirus and woo, you learn a lot. But yeah, so he's telling me, like, and he brings a lot of this stuff up to his coworkers, and his coworkers actually kind of like they'll, like, disagree with fundamental shit, like fundamental like biology. But anyway, so he's telling me that basically, so these vaccines, they induce B-cell immunity. And B-cell immunity is short term. It comes up, it builds up in your system, and then once it realizes that there's no threat anymore, it fades away. Whereas whenever you get the actual virus, you induce B-cell and T-cell immunity. So you're getting the B-cell immunity that you would get from the virus, but you're also getting the T-cell immunity, and T-cell immunity is much more powerful because it is long lasting, and in a lot of cases, such as, like, chickenpox and a bunch of different cases, it lasts for life. You're immune for life. And so who knows, maybe that's the case with coronavirus. We don't know yet because it's only been a couple of years. There's no way we could possibly know that how long the T-cell immunity lasts. But that's just proof that, in my mind, it's proof that natural immunity is just a lot more effective than a vaccine immunity.
Sure. Yeah.
And then,
Sure.
not that we have to say this or anything while Nick pulls up real fast, but I agree with 100% what you're saying. And if anybody's trying to take away this, we're saying you shouldn't get the vaccine. That's not at all what we're trying to say. It's that you should have the right to get it or not.
Well,
it
that's
shouldn't be
the
forced
thing
upon you.
is when you get the vaccine, you do get that B-cell immunity. So if you do get sick, it's going to be a lot less severe.
Correct.
Or
Which then
maybe not a lot less, but it's going to be less severe.
which is great for people who are more inclined to have terrible. And if they get the natural immunity at a less severe rate,
Yeah.
that's great for them.
Exactly.
But it doesn't
They
mean
can
everybody
get
has to do that.
T-cell immunity while their immune system is actually prepped and primed to deal with it, and so they can actually survive it, and then end up with the long-term immunity.
This is the Rand Paul and.
Let me go back.
Are you familiar with an Israeli study that had 2.5 million patients and found that the vaccinated group was actually 7 times more likely to get infected with COVID than the people who had gotten COVID naturally?
Senator, I'd have to get back to you on that one. I'm not familiar with that study.
Well, you think you might want to be if you're going to travel the country insulting the millions of Americans, including NBA star Jonathan Isaac, who have had COVID, recovered, look at a study with 2.5 million people and say, well, you know what? It looks like my immunity is as good as a vaccine or not. And in a free country, maybe I ought to be able to make that decision. Instead, you've chosen to travel the country calling people like Jonathan Isaac and others, myself included, flat earthers. We find that very insulting, goes against the science. Are you a doctor or a medical doctor?
I've worked over 30 years on health policy.
You're not a medical doctor. Do you have a science degree? And yet you travel the country calling people flat earthers who have had COVID, looked at studies of millions of people, and made their own personal decision that their immunity they naturally acquired is sufficient. But you presume somehow to tell over 100 million Americans who have survived COVID that we have no right to determine our own medical care. You alone are on high, and you've made these decisions, a lawyer with no scientific background, no medical degree. This is an arrogance coupled with an authoritarianism that is unseemly and un-American. You, sir, are the one ignoring the science. The vast preponderance of scientific studies, dozens and dozens, show robust, long-lasting immunity after COVID infection. Even the CDC does not recommend measles vaccine if you have measles immunity. The same was true for smallpox. But you ignore history and science to shame the flat earthers, as you call them. You should be ashamed of yourself and apologize to the American people for being dishonest about naturally acquired immunity.
I think that's basically the gist of it, right?
Boom roasted.
Now he's the lawyer for the
Well, he's the head of the
Health committee?
the HHS,
HHS,
Health, whatever that.
Health
yeah.
and Human Services.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta love those committees.
Yeah. What is a lawyer doing, giving medical advice though?
Just making a lot of money. That's what
And I do want to say one thing. Not really attacking Rand Paul, but Israel, they have like an extreme, like higher, and aren't they the most vaccinated?
he has like 80-something%
Yeah, so if 80% of your
of
population
eligible people.
Okay, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, what is that? Because now
So
it's
that
down
means
to 12
like 12
year old, right?
That means 12 and under doesn't count in.
Right,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
So, there is going to be a higher, obviously if you have a population that's more vaccinated, you're going to have, more of your cases are probably going to be vaccinated people, right?
Right.
Because you have more people. But, I mean, he's just, I think his biggest point was you're attacking these people. You don't have a science background. You don't have a medical background. But you're calling these people flat earthers when they're just, making these decisions on their own based on the information that they found themselves. But, yeah, he's been good on a lot of stuff lately, Rand Paul.
And like he said, that was a study of 2.5 million people.
Right.
Like, find me another study that had that many people involved. You can't. Literally.
Right.
So
what is the population? Oh, 9 point. So, yeah, that's what? A quarter of their population.
yeah.
Yeah, about a quarter of their population.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So that's a pretty big study.
I just appreciate him calling out like the nonsense.
Yeah.
That's what I so much appreciate about Rand Paul lately. I mean, he's been really good about just calling out like the theater, the nonsense of all of their narrative. It's like, okay, thank you for like being that person that says, hey, like, stop being so dumb. Stop being silly. Stop being a silly snake.
Yeah. It just sucks that's like the only thing he can do,
Yeah.
Yeah, right, because, I mean, most people will see that and just you know, most people who are on the other side of it, they'll see that and just be like, "Oh, he's he's a crazy guy."
Why didn't his neighbor kill him?
He's racist.
He's a white supremacist.
It's politics. Like anything, there's certain people that anything Rand Paul says, it's like blasphemy. Like no matter what he says, because it's just Rand Paul. You know.
Yep.
And they don't like him.
Right.
Not to get back on the Mr. Goop, but real fast, I did want to say another great part of that discussion is Joe really wanted to get down to the whole vaccinating children, and I think a lot of people, probably myself included, don't give Joe enough credit for how good he's gotten at speaking.
Yeah.
And like elaborating his points and doing it in a very civil manner. When he brought up the vaccinating children, I forget how it went. I don't think Joe did it like in a very like what am I trying to say?
Like condescending?
Confrontational?
No, not that. He didn't do it like sneakily. He didn't like try to like get into this point to where Gupta's in this like position now. He's like, oh shit, I already said this. But Gupta talked about how.
Well, you were talking about the heart condition, right?
No, this is where
myocardia, whatever.
Gupta was speaking about how he was already vaccinated, and he was not afraid about getting the.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite part.
Because he's vaccinated, he wasn't scared about getting the disease because he's been vaccinated. He feel like he'll be fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
Joe said, "Okay, that's great, perfectly understandable. Good, you feel like that way.
Right.
But how can you not understand how you feel like this? People feel with their children,
right?
Where they're very much more likely to not be sick or even get close to being sick in a way with COVID, and that's why they don't want to vaccinate their children because they're going to recover very well."
Yeah.
And Gupta had no way to answer that without saying, "Oh yeah, I don't think we should vaccinate children."
He kept changing subjects.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh well, it's for the people. They don't spread it." And like you said, Nick, earlier, I think Joe would say, "Well,
you can spread it."
Yeah, that's not correct because then you can spread it. So it's very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a very good point to where Joe was speaking on, you know.
I feel like they went for like 10 minutes in that roundabout circle. He's like, no. The point I'm trying to make is
correct.
You have made this assessment that you're vaccinated, so you're okay going out knowing that there's a small risk and that you'll probably be fine. People feel that same way in their circumstance, but that's not an allowable opinion.
Correct.
Would is that? And he would just
outside the 3x5 index card of allowable opinion, you would say?
yeah.
Some would say.
Good old words. Good old words.
I'm actually a little upset that we weren't able to go to that.
Yeah. I was gonna go by myself.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I'm gonna feel like super awkward.
Yeah. That sucks.
You just gotta drink a bottle of whiskey like on the drive over there. So
yeah, but I
I
had to drive back. So.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Should get a Tesla.
Yeah.
Do we know who his secret guest was?
No, but there was some drunk guy that heckled Michael Malice, and Michael Malice supposedly put him in his fucking place, and I can't wait to listen to that.
I hope he would. He's drunk.
Yeah.
So what was that? That was his 2000th episode, right?
Yeah, 2000th episode.
Damn, he's been around for a while. I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, but he does 3 a week, so
at least. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a good
I
point.
didn't know he did that many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so going back to the whole like immunity thing, like. In my household, we all got COVID, and the 13-year-old, my wife's little sister, she like didn't even know she had it the entire time. She felt totally fine the entire time, but she found out she had it because a couple of us had it, so she took a test just to make sure before she went to go hang out with her friends, and she found out she had it. And she was just like, what the fuck? Like, I feel totally fine. Like, this sucks.
Yeah.
It was like the last week of summer break. She, like, couldn't go hang out with her friends. It
Yeah,
sucked.
it sucks.
But, yeah, she was, like, totally fine. She was outside, like, playing lacrosse and shit. Like, she's totally fine. But,
Nice.
yeah. So, you know, she has natural immunity. And she totally, like, didn't even have to deal with any of the symptoms. She was just totally free from that.
Yeah. I mean, just to wrap up that little segment there, I mean, that interview was definitely worth watching, and I mean, I give a shout out to both of them for doing that, right? It was definitely it was one of those things that you watch. What are you
Oh my
watching
god,
over?
they dragged the drunk guy out? No way.
What is it?
Hold on, let Cameron finish real fast.
Oh no! What is this? This is a Tom Woods thing.
You wouldn't be so small.
I don't know if this is the drunk guy. He's just got a puppet. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Anyways, no,
I was trying to find the heckler, but
Yeah.
I think it was a skit that he was doing up here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying, just to wrap that little segment up. I think that's an interview worth watching if you have the time to do it, and you're not cheap and you have Spotify. And I think Rogan did an amazing job. I think I appreciate the Gupta guy coming on.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
I think
that
that
he
was
did
bold, and I also think it was. I don't know. It was,
I think he underestimated Rogan for sure.
I do
100%.
think I do think that's a part of it, but no, I think it was awesome, and I think it was definitely worth watching, and that definitely expands your mind in some way, seeing like that interaction. But no, shout out to Rogan for being legit on that. You know,
I mean,
I think he did a
I
good
feel like either side could watch that and be like, appreciate a lot of different aspects about it. So
no, that's how I feel about it
Yeah.
too. So yeah,
if you listen to this podcast, you're probably an extremist, like many of us here. But if you're not, don't be afraid to watch it, because I think it was
We
good.
still
for,
appreciate you.
Yeah, not as much, but we I think you'd appreciate it either way
Yeah.
to watch that. It was a good.
I just
little-
gotta say, this Man of War Ruination 10th anniversary,
good?
it's hitting the spot. I like it a lot.
you bought a box of those or what?
I bought like a 10-pack, and it was 5 of these and 5 Diablos.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, these are like
Pretty
these are
good,
nice,
huh?
man. They're like definitely full body.
you bought it on CI.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I need to do that.
I need to do that too.
Or
What?
we got to go down to those guys.
Yeah. What's the place? What's the name of that cigar shop?
I don't know. It was a Perdomo lounge, right?
Yeah.
Perdomo. Where was it? St. Lucie? No.
No, it's further south.
Port.
Bombay,
PSL?
Stewart,
PSL?
maybe?
Stewart?
Oh,
I don't know.
it was in Stewart. It was
Is
in
it
Stewart.
All right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm
Black
making
Dog?
Black Dog.
Okay.
Black Dog. Yeah, Black
Black
Dog.
Dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up and find out when their next thing is, and we're gonna go down.
Yeah,
with
if
all
you're
of us.
into smoking cigars and you live around that area,
Black Dog,
Black Dog is
The type
shit.
of guy.
and if you're racist, it's not.
It has nothing to do with
Yeah,
that.
there's no black
But-
dogs there, like those kind of dogs.
But yeah, no, that place right there is awesome.
yeah, but
that's
also
a-
if you're a racist, don't listen to the show. Fuck you.
Yeah.
If you don't
that
like
too.
Black Dog Cigar Bar, go on up to Yellow Dog up in Malabar. Eat yourself a chicken salad sandwich.
And then kill yourself.
Yeah.
And then walk out into the river until you can't swim.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for sure. I gotta get some cigars. When I'm low. So
Oh, hot damn.
yeah.
You guys want to riff for 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Anything else?
The only like local meaning in River County.
Is that Heedy?
Oh, dude, did you see the? I seen him on Saturday. I didn't.
Supposedly.
Where were you?
I don't believe you.
I was at La Tabla
Yeah,
getting
take-
some lunch with the wifey.
That does not seem like the place he would hang out in.
Yeah.
Tabla.
Maybe.
He was with another couple. Maybe it was his wife. I don't know. He didn't have a
his
ring
mistress.
on though, and I noticed in some of the pictures we looked up he had a ring. So I wasn't 100% sure if that was him.
Oh.
It fucking looked like him
I was
though.
saying, he's a
Like
pretty distinct looking guy.
that's why I was like, I'm pretty sure this motherfucking fucking Heaty's sitting across from him.
But
He kept looking over at me too, and I'm like, this motherfucker knows who I am. He knows he heard the episode.
Locally, the only thing I really saw that was worth talking about is Indian River County is giving a 4% raise to first responders.
For what? What are they?
Wasn't it it was all the county employees, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of the county employees are getting raises, and this is just like
Kind of
an
in
update.
line with inflation, thanks Biden.
Yeah,
Right.
but yeah,
But no one else is getting a raise.
it's kind of like my thought process there was like that makes sense because of inflation, but you're not a private business, so that means it's coming from my tax money.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, my business isn't able to give me a raise because of the market.
Yeah.
Because you can't just raise prices automatically, even though there's inflation.
Mm.
Things have to work in a slow, managed manner.
Yeah, exactly. You can't go from,
Yeah.
$5 a pizza to $7 a pizza overnight.
Yeah.
And expect it.
People's brains will explode.
Yeah.
Will explode.
So I don't know. It's I don't know. It's one of those things where, people who this article is more about the fire department and I forget who else it was. Because it's actually like county employees, like just like people who are like at the desk. I don't think they should have a job, and they should probably just like be put up against the wall. But the fire department has a little bit more, sway, respect. That's good.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, give the firefighters.
They're not out killing people for no reason.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably make a good argument. They're one of the better first responders we have, and they sign up to put out fires, and little do they know they're going to find dead children in pools most of the time.
Right.
For crackheads.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, whoopsie.
I mean, let's be honest. They got an easier job, bro.
I mean,
they
do.
come in, they work out, they make dinner, and then every once in a while there's a fire.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Oh,
I don't even think they fight as many like house fires as you guys think.
No, they don't. That's what I'm saying. Like their job is like literally a paramedic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, I think that's why they merged them in 2000, whatever it was.
Yeah. But I just heard a lot of horror stories, like fire people were going out to like, they just deal with crackheads all the time, finding dead kids in places, and
yeah, hey, you keep bringing up the dead kid thing.
I mean,
I
that's some
sleep soon.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
That's some heavy shit. But I
bet you firefighters have higher rates of PTSD than police officers.
Doubt it.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Really?
No way.
You think cops have higher PTSD
For
than?
sure.
Really?
I mean, you made a statement. I disagree.
Okay.
I would go with him on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Well,
it's I guess,
bro, they're making dinner and working out, and every once in a while they get to see something horrible. But a cop, they go to the crime scenes. They're there first, typically. They see gnarly stuff.
So I would say that's true,
but firefighters still have to show up. They still see the same shit.
Yeah. So that's the only other thing, and another thing is I feel like cops, not all of them obviously, right? But you always get like that stereotypical cop who's like, no matter what I see, I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
And it's like,
I want to know. The real question is, who's committing more domestic violence?
find that real fast.
That's a good question.
Yeah. What is it? 40% of cops?
According to that one study.
If we're talking about federal employees, it's probably male postman.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I
those
think
fucking
postmen
assholes. They got it the easiest, bro. Like they just drive in their trucks all day.
My head
Bitch about, I had to deliver 5 more pieces of mail today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but just a quick, just a quick. What do you guys' opinion on the county giving everybody raises?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd have to look into it more, but I mean, obviously there's a certain point where like there should be raises because, like we just said, inflation is continually happening, which it shouldn't be, but that's just the world we live in.
Or you're just doing such a damn good job.
Yeah, or you just but that's the thing, is it should be more like on an individual basis.
Correct,
like
not like a mandated where.
Yeah.
This is the 4th year.
Firefighters have higher rates of suicide than police.
Because they're so damn bored.
As per usual.
And then do with PTSD.
As per usual, I am correct.
Or do we
He's the only one with a freaking computer. He's
over here just Googling away.
What? You guys...
He's rigging the election over there.
or do we just move the goalpost and be like, well, I guess there's a bunch of pussies.
Whoa.
And real men just go in the force.
And then go home and beat the shit out of their wives.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey.
Say, don't commit suicide. Beat your wife.
Dude,
God.
Yeah. That's
why they have a lower suicide rate than firefighters.
That's a slogan in the coffee room. It's like a poster.
It's like the Boston Be a Man.
Yeah.
Don't join the fire department. Beat your wife. Become a cop. Be a man.
That guy.
While we're rifting
That guy
too,
kills me.
The guy's funny.
I read an article I was looking up today actually to see if anything newsworthy has happened in Florida, and there was 3 accounts around Florida of cops killing perps.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that gets like they post news about that all the time, or like this is like a random occurrence where like it happened over a weekend, like 3 people got shot. But one guy was in Tarpon Springs, which is northwest of Tampa. It's a very nice small little town.
Little Greek town.
Yes, very good food. I guess this guy was standing on the corner of a 4-way intersection, just waving around a rifle.
Yeah, shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has the American right to do that.
Yeah, but I think his
Just waving it around.
Yeah.
I think his downfall
2A, brother.
is when the cops came and then he pointed at them.
Also, not a good move.
That's not.
So
that's probably not.
I think he got blasted.
You have fucked up now.
And then the two other ones were one guy, I believe in the Fort Lauderdale area, with a knife, was running around, and they charged a policeman or a policewoman. I'm not sure the gender. And
a police they.
and he got mowed down as well. And then
Nice.
another knife wielding person, I think in Tampa. Forget what the circumstance was, but
Things are getting crazy over there on
yeah,
the West Coast.
that guy didn't last either. So
What was the one that Chris, you posted in the group chat about like we should do a whole episode on this?
Yeah, what the fuck was it? I
Pull
can't
that
even
up,
remember,
because
dude.
that was pretty funny.
That was ridiculous. Yeah, that was wild. I really cannot even fucking remember what it was off the top of my head.
How about that guy? And did you guys see that? The guy in Sebastian, he had enough of his wife's shit and killed her. And then apparently he...
Brian Laundrie?
No, that was, yeah. That
Different
motherfucker's
story.
gone. They are not finding him. I don't care what
You don't
anybody
think so?
said. No.
What's the likelihood they find him?
5%.
5%?
The less than that. He's gone, bro. He's
Last
gone.
night. I mean,
So-
people fuck up.
So this guy
They
in
do.
Fellsmere, which is a area around where we live, it's kind of out inland,
Low west of us.
farmland area. Yeah. So there's a lot of farms out there, a lot of not wildlife, but
I think they named the streets by canals.
yeah, yeah,
Canal
a
one.
lot of domesticated animals out there. But so this guy, the headline reads: Fellsmere man arrested after intercourse with miniature horse.
Oh, yes.
Oh no!
He was fucking someone else's horse.
Yeah, he was a homeless guy,
That's
right?
what really gets me, all right? So these people had like security cameras.
Imagine this
and
poor
it
girl.
it took a while before they finally realized. They were like, damn, this horse is walking funny.
Well, yeah, they set up
no!
they set up like surveillance to watch the fucking horse, right? Isn't that how
And then they
the
found
guy?
out this homeless guy was fucking their horse.
Yeah.
Their miniature horse.
Imagine being that little girl and be like, "Daddy, what's that man doing to?"
No.
Yeah.
So he was a repeat offender.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
he was.
He was
He was
like
over there
raping
every
our
night.
horses.
He was getting
Every
up in
night.
them guts.
Oh no!
He was
Yeah.
laying pipe on
Shout
this
out
mini
to my
horse.
coworkers for turning me on to this
Oh,
story.
I thought you were about to say shout out to my coworker for raping horses. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, come on.
No,
man.
no, we fired him.
That's why he's homeless.
No, my coworkers are always bringing up like just local crazy shit
That's
going on.
so gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, this is the guy who killed his wife. Look, doesn't he look like such a normal looking dude?
It makes more sense.
I
as
feel like
a mini horse.
I've drank with this guy at
Yeah,
Earl's at some
I know.
point in my
I feel
life,
like I
right?
drank a
Like
beer
we
with that
definitely
guy.
got drunk with that guy somewhere.
Michael
Depre. Depre. How do you pronounce that?
Depre.
Depre. Is that French?
Yeah, Depre.
Looks pretty.
Yeah.
Depre.
Yeah.
Told investigators what led up to them finding the body of his fiancée in a Walmart parking lot Monday morning. Officials said Depre had been contemplating killing Janine Bishop, 67, of Sebastian for several days before the incident because he was angry.
Wow.
He had made a
Valid reason.
yeah. Yeah, he made a weapon out of a rope with two handles used for strangulation. Oh, he made like a little piano wire
Wow,
setup.
he
Nice.
like thought about this.
He crafted
Yeah.
the weapon.
He looks kind of big. I feel like he could have done it like with his hands.
Yeah, I've heard it's very difficult to strangle somebody.
Look at
So-
someone's eyes and as the
So
light,
I've been
as the
told.
light leaves.
Sebastian police responded to the parking lot of Walmart located at 7:46 a.m. According to the officers, they found Bishop, his wife, dead in the back of a black Chevy pickup truck. Officials said she had marks on her neck that showed signs of strangulation, along with pronounced petachia in both eyes. Depre
That's
met
like
with
when the
police.
blood vessels explode, right?
Yeah, I think so. Or when they fucking pop out of your head. Desprez met with police at about 11:55 a.m. where he admitted to strangling Bishop to death on Sunday night while she was sitting in a kitchen chair. He told police he then moved her to their bed and slept next to her that night before changing her clothes and placing her back in the pickup truck.
See, that's the kind of crazy that it's different.
Yeah. Desprez then told police that he put a bicycle in his gray van and drove to Walmart before pedaling back to his house. He then drove the pickup to the nearby Dollar Tree, walked into Walmart, and asked for a manager to call 911 for an emergency with his fiance. Well, like, what did he think? He was going to be like, she just fucking died, bro. I don't know. I was just sitting there and she died. But yeah, that's the story.
But that just tells you what kind of crazy he is.
Dude, he changed her.
Yeah.
He changed her clothes.
He slept with her.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's a little weirder, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit,
He's
right?
like, one last time.
Oh god!
Oh,
Imagine they
sake.
find out. Oh, I don't even want to go there.
Yeah.
That's. Oh,
I'm going to. Imagine they find out he fucked her.
No,
Dead body.
That's not as crazy to me as
They're like they found Janine Bishop, 67, full of cum.
Oh.
no. What? That's not even crazy.
said it.
What would be crazier is if like just picturing like him like waking up in the morning like talking to her like she's still alive.
Yeah.
Babe, you want some
God.
eggs?
Yeah.
And he like throws egg on her head.
No, he's like, why are you fucking answering me? This is why I killed you.
He kills her again.
That was, just
he
like
strangles her again.
Oh no!
Like they found post-mortem strangulation.
That reminds me, yesterday my wife asked me, she's like, what would you do if I died? You know, like women do all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would just be like an insane person that just like pretends like you're there all the time. I would just talk to the air like as if you were there all the time, you know. And she's like, "That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me."
Are there laws? Are there laws governing like you know how you stuff a trophy? Are there laws governing doing that with humans?
Well, like you talking about like
I feel like we've discussed this before.
taxidermy?
Yeah, like if you taxidermy your wife and set her in a chair, and then you know, she's like there with you forever.
Either I'm having deja vu. I'm like 100% sure we've discussed this.
I don't know if we have.
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure
There's this pickup truck.
We should do a full episode on this.
Yeah.
Let us know if you want to talk about taxiderming.
You know what's kind of
Dead
creepy? When you look at this guy's, you guys can't. We need to get that TV set up. But when you look at this guy's picture, he's kind of got like he's not necessarily smiling. He's not necessarily frowning, but you can tell he's kind of at peace, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
Hey.
He's kind of like, you know what?
dude, because that guy right there is a psychopath.
Well, first
That's
off,
why.
Whoa,
wait,
Don't jump to conclusions.
Yeah, like
no.
we don't know what kind of person Janine was.
Well, no. Besides the fact that
are you a
Janine-
registered therapist?
I'm calling it, bro. When you dress her and make her breakfast in the morning,
See, that tells me he had just like a little bit of respect for her.
Yeah.
no, that tells
He
me
didn't
you're
want her to be found
crazy
in her.
son of a bitch.
Yeah.
He wanted to put her Sunday best on.
Yeah, he's like, you know what?
he didn't want her to
She's
go out
dead.
And then he
There's-
bought it at Walmart. That's
Yeah, he said, you know what? She's dead. There's nothing I can
Well,
do about that.
It's
Like,
Sebastian.
she's
We're
dead
going to bring her to Home
already.
Depot.
So
your point.
I'm gonna at least make her presentable. Like I can't change the fact that she's dead, but I can.
Please don't bring me to Walmart.
But I
if
can
die.
change the fact
the
that
last place I want to be.
she
when
looks
I'm
like shit right now because she's covered in her
It
own
was
throw up.
It was her favorite place.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was her favorite place.
She loved the good deals.
It is better than Home Depot, though. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
No, neither one. Don't bring me to either one of
Probably
those if
hated
I
that
die.
place.
Where could he have brought her that would have been more respectful? I feel like for a Sebastian man, Florida or Walmart, that's pretty.
Maybe
Yeah.
Earl's.
Sebastian
Earl's would have been nice.
Wasabi.
It would have been better if he brought her to Earl's and dragged her dead body in and was like, she's a little drunk, just like get her a glass of water, and then just left her there in a bar stool.
I feel like people would like not notice for like all night.
Oh, they would not at
Yeah.
Earl's. They would not.
There's like
No.
a guy next to her like eating a meatball sub.
Yeah, he's like, hey, bitch, you want a bite?
Yeah.
She's dead.
I think the best would have been Riverside Park, looking over the river in the morning. That way,
Yeah.
when the kids are walking there in the morning,
Like, oh, look at that old lady.
I was just gonna say, like, bring her to the inlet.
yeah,
Just at sunrise, you know.
Oh God.
the water park that's next to the Riverside Park now, the little splash zone. Just put her in there.
Splash zone.
She loved
fuck.
she loved waterworks.
R.I.P. Janine. Sorry
Yeah.
for all the jokes.
Yeah, for real. Sorry that your husband's.
I'm not apologizing for anything because I didn't know you. So
She.
I don't know your husband either. He killed you, so it's not really the best thing, obviously. But I don't know what kind of person you were. So
I mean,
you know,
your wife right now, Cameron, is watching a show about a couple that kills people. So for all we
Is
know,
that you?
yeah,
Yeah.
So
I've
for all
been
we know-
watching that.
Wi-
It's
you
so
know,
good.
women.
yeah, they love
that
it.
kind of
It's-
women are the kind of people.
who want to fantasize
They're the
about
kind
killing.
of guy.
No, I mean, there's been some conversation about that. They love those like
You
crime-
killing your what? Oh,
No, I don't have any interest in that. That seems like a lot of work. But
That's false.
Yeah,
I love how that's what is like. Not the fact that you're gonna kill your wife. It's like it's just a lot of work.
for joke's sake, no, I don't want to kill my wife. But yeah, I don't know.
Wait. For the joke's sake, you don't want to. So
What?
you do, but for the joke's sake,
No,
you
no,
don't. Want.
no. Wait a second. Hold on. Stop. No, but
Blew
women,
my fucking eardrum.
women, they do like that kind of stuff, though. They like that kind of like crime.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I think it's a
mystery.
way for them to fantasize about killing you guys, like their husbands.
Yeah, maybe.
I know, there's a
When
lot-
in reality, I think isn't it like a higher statistic of men killing their wives than
Oh no, for sure, for sure.
I mean, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Probably a
Much
higher
stronger.
statistic of women fantasizing about killing their
Yeah.
husbands.
Yeah,
that's
for
probably
sure.
true as well.
for sure.
But no, we need to set this. We need to set the record straight. That guy right there was crazy.
Okay.
You can set that record for yourself.
I'm not-
That's not.
I'm not
that's not the
jumping to
collective.
Yeah, I'm not jumping to conclusions.
I'm
We
still
don't know who-
open. I'm still open to interpretation here.
All right,
I don't know.
we're open to it.
Again,
Okay.
my point before we got sidetracked real fast was Janine, like the show and you, could have been a killer like him.
Oh man,
Yeah, maybe
that's a
she
twist.
killed a bunch of people, and he was like, "This bitch has got to go." Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he like cleaned up for her. Like there's like 3 bodies in the marsh that he took care of. You
Yeah.
know,
What a twist! What a twist!
and he's
in
just like, "All
that
right,
story.
I need to end this."
But not to jump back on you real fast. Do you think women like this kind of show or shows like this because it's like a weird version of love, where it's like it's love that like goes over bounds of like killing people,
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't.
like
I
a,
don't,
like
get
a,
it.
know.
like a taboo love almost.
A taboo love.
Women do be pretty toxic, so you never know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
That's
But
not
my
to say men aren't.
my
show is
wife
fucking
loves this
insane,
show.
yeah.
bro.
Does that scare you at all?
That she loves the fact that this guy is willing to kill.
Yeah, she. Oh, the woman kills too.
Oh, they both kill.
Yeah,
This is a new episode,
Yeah.
season or whatever.
yeah, she kills people too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You
But
probably didn't see the second season.
no, I stopped
Yeah.
because I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, because he's a
There's
psychopath.
too much death.
But then she, I mean, you know, like people find each other, right? So they like just found each other, and they both like to murder people.
Oh,
That's awesome.
okay. Well, no, I don't watch stuff like
Well,
that.
they don't like to murder people; they just snap and murder people, and
Yeah.
then they gotta take care of it.
So if you just want to text you for like next couple months every morning, making sure you're still
Yeah,
alive.
I'm gonna text you for the next 3 months, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, man, everything's good.
Yeah.
I'm alive."
Good to
Yeah.
know. In case Emily gets any ideas.
I'm just if anything happens to you, I'm just killing her immediately. Even if it's a car accident.
I really,
I will avenge your death.
I
Don't
really
worry.
hope
Assume
she
she-
listens to this episode. and She's like,
Assume she cut the brake
he would
lines
say
or
that.
something.
He would
Yeah.
kill me. He would kill me. Nick would
Emily
kill
knows
me.
I hate her. It's okay.
She can probably hear you right now.
Yeah.
I'm surprised her head didn't pop
I
up.
know.
I
I'm
know.
on the couch.
She's got that sixth sense, you know.
Yeah. It makes her a better candidate for killing you.
Yeah,
She has a sixth sense.
yeah. Thanks, guys. I
Knows
appreciate
everything.
you.
I like
appreciate
this.
your
Here's
concern.
another article. I'm just kind of browsing right now. There's a Woody's barbecue hat right under the guy's mugshot. But
For murder.
yeah, like
Come get your
Yeah.
your pulled pork sandwich.
yeah,
I'll stop it.
it's like murdering can take a lot of energy. Come refuel at Woody's barbecue.
Come get a sloppy
Fresh
Woody.
brisket daily.
A sloppy Woody.
Yeah, but no, at the bottom it's because apparently they had an abusive relationship.
Oh, you think?
Well, that's what it says. Bishop was in an abusive relationship with Dippley. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's right. He was Dippley and she was Bishop. But then it's got like a thing down here.
See, that's
like,
the problem.
the help
That's
God-
the problem. The problem is they weren't married, and they were living together.
Mm.
Well, that's a different subject, but good.
But then it has like the help guide for, victims of domestic violence and, abusive relationships. You are not to blame for being battered or mistreated. Probably not true. You are not the cause of your partner's abusive behavior. Again, probably not true. You deserve to be treated with respect. Again, probably not true. You deserve a safe and happy life. Subjective. Your children deserve a safe and... Yeah, that's true. Your children do
Yes,
deserve...
yeah.
Yeah. You are not
100%.
alone. There are people waiting to help. Nah, no one,
Oh God.
people care in the sense of that, like, it's their job and it's how they get paid, but no one really gives a fuck,
1 out of 9.
Yeah, like 1 out of 9 people care.
Listen, these people would be out of a job if people stopped beating their wives.
Yeah, right? You don't want to put these people out of work.
It's like the homeless people. They don't want the homeless problem to go away. That's how they get paid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Think
Like,
these-
you solve homelessness, what next? I'm homeless now.
Yeah.
Good point.
Now all the people who solve homelessness are homeless.
So all the people who solve, spousal abuse, then they get abused because they don't make any money. Their spouse
Yeah,
is mad.
like how are you going to take advice from somebody who is getting the shit beat out of them all the time? Like they're obviously not in the right, mindset to give you advice on your abusive relationship.
That's true. That's true. we're getting way off in the weeds.
Yeah. I think I'm ready to.
Wading out into the
I'm
mud.
about to piss myself. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Time to tinkle.
Any closing thoughts?
Oh man. Well,
I guess my only closing thought is we should probably hear we should probably hear this guy out, right?
Hear who out?
The guy who killed his wife. Put her in a parking lot.
Oh,
Dupree.
Yeah, Dupree.
the French guy.
Yeah, I don't know. He might say something profound that make us kind of read.
Yeah, here we go. This is what we do. Tell us what you think about Dupree, and then we'll just go around the table, and that's how we'll end it.
Go around the table.
Send him
do
a
what?
questionnaire.
No. Just
Are we going to start writing letters to?
No. Just give us your thought on him. What kind of person was he?
I don't know him.
Is he the kind of guy?
He's the kind of guy that kills his wife and puts her in a truck in a parking lot Walmart,
and then rides his bike.
Yeah,
like what the fuck?
I mean, I'm gonna give the most honest answer you'll hear. I don't know him. I don't know her. He may have had valid reason to kill her. I don't know. I don't know their situation. So maybe that's all I'm saying. I think we should just hear him out. Like, because we don't know. We don't know.
It's like Brian Laundrie.
You think he'll take a call? Can we call him?
I'm not
from jail?
really. We have to talk to the lawyer. I'm not sure.
He has one call.
I think we should pretend to be his dad, and then
oh my god, that would be so fucked up. Be like, son, I know we haven't talked in a long time.
Just get a real good, juicy interview.
Specifically, 45 years.
Well, how do you know he hasn't talked to his dad?
I don't know. I'm just assuming. I think somebody who kills their wife probably doesn't have the best relationship with their father.
Unless he too.
Me too or he too?
Both.
Ooh, he too.
He too, me too.
All right, you said we're going to go around the table, so you guys got to give your closing thoughts about this guy.
I think we should look into her past a little more. Because I'm just really into victim blaming, and
I mean, if you're going to put the blame anywhere, you should probably start with the victim, right?
Right.
What did they do to get
start with
in
the victim
situation?
and then work your way back? And
I'm not saying
figure out, did she kill anyone?
Right. I'm not saying it's a good place to. I'm not saying it's where you're ultimately going to end up. I'm just saying it's a good place to start, right?
Yeah.
That's just logical thinking.
Yeah. I mean, what the famous every action induces or creates a greater equal reaction.
Yeah, something like that.
Newton's something law.
Yeah,
because I'm an engineer.
Third law.
His third law of a glass of whiskey.
I actually think it's the first law. Every force has an equal and opposite reaction.
Right. There we go. So, but yeah, I don't know.
In the static world,
I think with this article going around about Dupree, Brian Laundrie too, I think there might be an attack on the male,
the white male. Yeah, for sure.
So
for sure.
I think as white.
Nobody's looking at the victim.
At possible white.
What did they do?
As white males, I think we have to stand together.
They do deserve this.
Yeah.
And have each other's backs.
Yeah.
Free Brian Laundrie.
I'm not going to go that far yet.
He is free as far as I know.
Yeah.
He's still free.
He is free.
Stay free.
Thank you guys for joining us for another extremely based, extremely informative episode.
Yeah, super jokey at the end there.
Yeah, everything we say, this is all for fun.
Bunch of yucks.
Yeah,
and as always, good advice. Don't travel with your girlfriend in a van around the country.
Until you know her.
Yeah, and if you do and you end up killing her, we get it. We understand.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, later, guys.